The tale starts with Kaiser Clyde, an adventurer who lost all he had. Kaiser earned his A-rank adventurer license at age 14, the youngest to achieve this feat. He honed his sword skills under the guidance of a master named Kenny and studied magic with an ancient sage. After joining the Adventurers Guild, Kaiser swiftly rose through the ranks, aiming for the prestigious A-rank title. Everything seemed perfect until, at 17, Kaiser faced a devastating loss and unexpectedly became a father. This happened during an A-rank mission at a volcano teeming with wyverns. Taking on such a dangerous task alone was bold, but Kaiser successfully completed the mission. Planning to return to the capital, he decided to collect materials from the defeated monsters to bring back to the guild. Suddenly, he noticed an unusual tremor, his face showing shock as he spotted a massive four-legged creature with 2 enormous wings, an S-rank ancient dragon. The dragon, which had been sleeping near the volcano, soared toward the town below. Kaiser rushed to the scene, but tragedy had already struck upon his arrival. The buildings and ground were shattered. Heartbroken, Kaiser patrolled the ruins of the village, tears streaming down his face as his world fell apart. Kneeling in the debris, he blamed himself for the disaster. Despite being an A-rank adventurer, he felt he failed to protect those he was meant to save. Amid the wreckage, Kaiser heard a sound and discovered 3 babies trapped in the rubble of a house. He vowed to the lost villagers to rescue these children, promising to raise them well and ensure their happiness. When Kaiser returned, things had changed. Some adventurers began blaming him for the village's destruction. The once admiring crowd now whispered harshly behind Kaiser Clyde's back, their words wounding him deeply. He admitted he couldn't dispute their accusations, believing the town's tragic deaths were his fault. As Kaiser prepared to leave the Adventurers Guild, his concerned lady assistant questioned his decision to retire from adventuring. Though he appreciated her kind words, they didn't sway him from departing. Despite his dream of becoming an S-rank adventurer, Kaiser walked away, vowing to honor his promise to the lost villagers. He embraced his new role as a father with courage, ready to face the responsibilities ahead. Leaving the city, Kaiser returned to his quiet hometown of Yuzuva, far from the bustle of urban life, to raise the 3 children. Though the townsfolk were shocked to see him arrive with babies, the elder understood his plight, offering support and a small house on the town's outskirts. Thus began Kaiser's life as a father to the 3 infants. Raising children was new to him, but he did his best to teach them from a young age. The toddlers, true to their nature, constantly brought fresh challenges, often fighting and getting hurt. 10 years later, the 3 girls Kaiser rescued had grown to age 10. The eldest, Elsa, stood out as exceptionally talented compared to other children her age. Her swordsmanship was remarkable, surpassing the abilities of a typical 10-year-old with extraordinary strength and precision. Yet despite her skills, she remained a child at heart. During a training session with Kaiser wielding wooden swords, Elsa ended up sprawled on the ground after Kaiser landed a gentle hit to her head, part of their daily practice routine together. Elsa, despite giving her all, couldn't land a single hit on Kaiser during their sparring. Kaiser chuckled, telling his beloved daughter she had a long way to go, boasting his 27 years of experience. Teary-eyed, Elsa tried to respond, but Kaiser took her hand, saying she might surpass him as a swordsman if she kept improving, praising her warmly. The tears in Elsa's eyes faded, replaced by excitement and determination. She asked if she could truly outshine him, and Kaiser nodded, patting her head, assuring her she could succeed if she never gave up. He then expressed joy at her calling him father, but playfully suggested she revert to daddy like she did as a young child. Elsa's cheeks flushed, and she shyly refused, insisting a swordsman must never show weakness, as that was the warrior's way. Kaiser teased that Elsa seemed to dislike soft things, and Elsa proudly agreed, declaring even eating desserts was a sign of weakness. When Kaiser mentioned that day's dessert was apple pie, Elsa's eyes sparkled with delight. He jokingly asked if a swordsman like her could eat such a treat, given her earlier words. Blushing, Elsa admitted she could be a little soft just for today. Kaiser happily agreed, noting they needed to buy ingredients and inviting Elsa to join him, to which she eagerly said yes. Despite her tough demeanor, Elsa was a sweet, loving girl who adored garden playtime and watching Kaiser train with his sword. As a young child, she'd clutch her wooden sword to soothe her nighttime tears, and even now, having outgrown childhood, she slept beside that same sword. As they walked together, Elsa silently wished with all her heart that when she grew up, she would become an adventurer like Kaiser. Elsa boldly declared she would defeat the dragon that Kaiser couldn't, earning a gentle pat on the head from him. Kaiser's mind raced with thoughts about the perils of adventuring, uncertain if Elsa should follow his path, yet he acknowledged he couldn't control her future. She had to choose for herself, so Kaiser encouraged Elsa, saying she could one day surpass him and achieve her dreams, but first she needed to win the upcoming fencing tournament. If she did, he'd grant her a wish. Elsa eagerly agreed, and a week later, she showcased her remarkable skill in the tournament, earning endless praise from the crowd and ultimately winning. Beaming with pride, Elsa waved her medal at Kaiser, who expressed his awe and admiration, crediting her victory to her hard work. As they chatted sweetly about a celebratory dinner, a shout rang out. A monster had appeared in the village. The mood turned grave, and Kaiser instructed Elsa to stay put. But Elsa, brimming with resolve, insisted on joining him, claiming her tournament champion title proved she could fight by his side. Kaiser relented, and they rushed to confront the monster, which was ferociously attacking villagers. Kaiser ordered Elsa to help the others while he handled the beast, but Elsa refused, determined to fight alongside him. Suddenly, the monster charged toward Elsa, leaving her frozen and overwhelmed. Seeing her danger, Kaiser sprinted to her side, shielding her and taking a stab to his abdomen. Despite his injury, Kaiser's thoughts remained fixed on protecting his daughter behind him. Driven by his resolve to protect Elsa, Kaiser defeated the monster with a powerful strike. Afterward, Elsa sat on the ground, her voice trembling as she apologized to Kaiser, admitting she couldn't do anything to help. She confessed that her fencing tournament victory had made her overestimate her abilities. Before she could say more, Kaiser gently interrupted, reassuring her not to worry, as the first battle is always the toughest. He encouraged his daughter, explaining that fighting to protect those she loves would give her the strength to conquer her fears. Their conversation ended with Elsa, newly determined, vowing to dedicate her sword to safeguarding those dear to her. Meanwhile, Kaiser's other daughter grew frustrated, noticing that Kaiser and Elsa were, as usual, late returning home. The story shifts to reveal Kaiser's second daughter, who sat wondering why Kaiser and Elsa hadn't returned yet. Deciding to pass the time, she went to check on the cave mine. At the same time, Kaiser was at Gezel's bar, gathering ingredients for dinner. While there, they discussed Kaiser's role in protecting the village, particularly his work as a guardian. Thanks to his efforts, monster attacks had significantly decreased, promising the village its largest harvest ever. Gezel expressed gratitude to Kaiser, then brought up Kaiser teaching swordsmanship to children, which Kaiser readily agreed to. Gezel also recalled a time when Kaiser was banned from a tournament for being overwhelmingly strong, praising his exceptional skill. Despite the compliments, Kaiser remained humble, saying those days were long behind him. Gezel brought up a new subject, asking Kaiser if he had told his daughters the truth about not being their biological father. Kaiser responded that he hadn't yet, but intended to when the time was right. During their lengthy talk, Kaiser noticed the revamped interior of Gezel's bar. Gezel explained that the changes were suggested by Kaiser's second daughter, Anna, and since then, the bar had seen more customers than ever. Gezel expressed awe at Anna's talent, praising her and predicting she'd become remarkably skilled in the future. As they continued their chat, Elsa arrived to fetch Kaiser. On their way home, they spotted Camel, a mine worker, fleeing with Anna close behind. Anna shouted for Kaiser to stop Camel. Camel pleaded with Kaiser to let him go, but Kaiser refused, citing Anna's request. In moments, Camel was pinned to the ground, restrained by Kaiser. Amid the commotion, Kaiser asked Anna why Camel was running. Anna explained that Camel had been drinking and slacking off during work hours, so she decided he needed a mild punishment. Camel defended himself, claiming the mine's stuffy air forced him to step out for fresh air now and then. With authority, Anna countered that breaks should happen outside work hours, noting the mine's schedule was 8 o'clock a.m. to 5 o'clock p.m., 5 days a week. When Camel angrily insisted he should work and leave whenever he pleased, Anna calmly responded that such an approach was inefficient, stressing the importance of working during designated hours and resting at appropriate times. She added that if Camel worked as diligently as Kaiser, he could earn the same profit in just 3 hours a day, 2 days a week. Camel, frustrated, highlighted Kaiser's exceptional skills and questioned how Anna, a mere child, could understand work. His words provoked Anna, who sharply pulled out her authority, accusing Camel of slacking and threatening to inform his boss and wife about his behavior. Given Anna's honesty and the trust she'd earned from Camel's wife and boss, Camel knew he'd be in serious trouble if she followed through. Defeated, he returned to work, following Anna's instructions without protest. After this exchange, Kaiser spoke about Anna's ambition to become a guild master and mentioned Elsa's dream of being an adventurer, prompting Anna to playfully tease Elsa about knowing little beyond her swordsmanship. After the siblings' lighthearted banter, Kaiser, Anna, and Elsa headed home. Along the way, villagers showered them with gratitude, offering food to thank Anna for boosting their businesses. Kaiser carried the gifts, mentally revising the week's menu. Meanwhile, Kaiser's third daughter was fast asleep at home. Earlier, we caught a brief glimpse of her, but now more is revealed. When Kaiser, Anna, and Elsa arrived home, they confirmed the third daughter was still sleeping. Kaiser entered her room, where his youngest daughter, Meryl, lay dozing. He tried to wake her, but Meryl mumbled, asking for 5 more minutes. Kaiser persisted, refusing her request. Meryl then bargained, saying she'd get up if he gave her a kiss on the cheek, claiming that's how princesses awaken when kissed by their prince. Elsa rushed in, scolding Meryl that she wasn't a princess and shouldn't trouble Kaiser. Undeterred by Elsa's words, Meryl stood firm. Meryl playfully teased that Elsa was as serious as ever and persisted in asking Kaiser to kiss her cheek. Left with no choice, Kaiser complied with his daughter's request. Right after, Meryl made another demand, asking Kaiser to help her change her clothes, clearly craving more of his attention, which Kaiser quietly noted. As he helped her dress, Anna questioned Meryl about her magic school, and Meryl casually admitted she'd skipped it. This troubled Anna, who stressed that the school's tuition wasn't free and that Kaiser was paying for it. Meryl countered that the classes were dull, claiming the school's level was too low and she'd already surpassed her magic teacher. To prove it, Meryl demonstrated her ice magic, which Kaiser had taught her recently, showing impressive skill. She argued that instead of attending school, Kaiser could teach her magic himself. Anna firmly disagreed, telling her spoiled sister that Kaiser couldn't spend all day catering to her needs. Anna insisted Meryl attend school and take classes like everyone else. Unfazed, Meryl grumbled that school was a hassle. Exasperated, Anna pinched Meryl's ears, demanding she promise to attend school properly. Meryl, wincing in pain, quickly agreed. After this lively exchange, the family began preparing dinner. When Meryl learned apple pie was for dessert, her eyes lit up, and she even sang about it. Her joy was short-lived, as Anna sternly declared that naughty children who skip school don't get dessert, pinching Meryl's ears again to make her stand. A pitiful Meryl promised to follow their rules, attend school, and beg not to be denied her dessert. A few days later, while Kaiser took a break from work, he reflected on the upcoming harvest season, a time when monsters often targeted the village's crops. Although some villagers could wield swords, they were no match for powerful monsters. Since Kaiser became the village's guardian, he had successfully repelled all monster attacks, while also implementing other protective measures. Just then, Meryl playfully covered his eyes with her hands, starting a guessing game. Knowing it was her, Kaiser humored her. Meryl dropped several hints, culminating in asking the name of the genius magician who loved Kaiser most and was the youngest of 3 sisters. Kaiser correctly named Meryl, and she gleefully confirmed his answer. However, Kaiser soon discovered Meryl had skipped class again, putting her in trouble. He informed her of complaints from her school, including her ignoring her teacher, sleeping in class, and even defeating her teacher in a challenge. Meryl, proud of her feat, asked Kaiser for praise, but he didn't comply. Instead, he gently scolded her, acknowledging her impressive skill but stressing that magic should be used to enhance lives, not harm others. Meryl felt disheartened by his words. Moments later, a farmer approached, thanking Kaiser for the magical fence protecting the crops, another reason monsters couldn't reach them. Meryl was amazed, and Kaiser explained that the fence was infused with lightning magic, zapping any monster that dared touch the crops. After the farmer expressed his gratitude and left, Kaiser turned to Meryl to continue their conversation, but Meryl, inspired by what she'd heard, eagerly interrupted. She said she now understood his lesson about using magic to help others and asked if he'd praise her if she did so. Kaiser readily agreed, and Meryl vowed to work hard to earn his praise. In Kaiser's mind, he saw Meryl's genius as a potential catalyst. If she focused on using magic for good, it could lead to significant advancements for the world. Meanwhile, Anna and Elsa were plotting for Kaiser's upcoming birthday, discussing what gift to give him. Their planning had barely begun, but they were already stumped, as Kaiser rarely shared what he liked. Anna had even asked his friends for suggestions but found no clear ideas. After some debate, they settled on accessories as the safest option, but their main issue was a lack of funds, which left them even more troubled. Soon after, Kaiser and Meryl arrived home, and Kaiser noticed coins on the table, asking Anna and Elsa what they were doing. Elsa quickly explained they were discussing saving money. Kaiser told them to ask him if they needed help with anything. Then, Anna spotted Meryl, who should have been at school, and prepared to scold her with a pinch. Kaiser intervened, asking Anna to go easy on Meryl this time, assuring her that Meryl wouldn't skip school again. Reluctantly, Anna relented, forgiving Meryl but warning that she'd face a stern punishment if it happened again. Meryl, with a cute wink and smile, cheekily assured Anna there'd be no more skipping school, claiming the genius magician would now do amazing things. Anna, unimpressed by Meryl's smugness, pinched her right ear. Meryl whined, thinking Anna would let it slide, but Anna snapped that Meryl's bad expression annoyed her. Offended, Meryl called Anna a monster for pinching her. Kaiser, stepping in, announced he'd head to the kitchen to prepare dinner. Once he was out of sight, Meryl asked Anna and Elsa what they were discussing. They shared their plan for Kaiser's birthday gift and their money troubles. Anna then contacted an acquaintance, a store owner with an injured leg, who offered a necklace for Kaiser in exchange for a favor. He asked Anna and her sisters to work at his store during the Harvest Festival in 4 days. Anna agreed, and when the festival arrived, the 3 sisters went to the store to work, motivated by their love for their father. They were welcomed by the old man and his daughter, who guided them to the back to change into festive clothes to attract more customers. Meanwhile, Kaiser, overseeing village security, strolled through the festival and noticed a bustling store. Curious, he approached and was surprised to see his 3 daughters working as salespeople. The girls, thrilled to see him, rushed over. When Kaiser asked what they were doing, they explained they wanted to try selling for a change, nearly revealing it was part of his birthday surprise. The store owner spotted Kaiser and greeted him warmly. After a brief chat, the owner suggested that Kaiser and his daughters enjoy the festival together, and they happily agreed. Bidding farewell, Kaiser and his girls spent joyful time at the festival before heading home. As they walked, Kaiser reflected deeply on his 3 daughters, marveling at how the once tiny girls could now run a shop on their own. He realized that in 4 years, when they turned 14, they'd leave for the capital to pursue their chosen paths, and even without his guidance, he believed they'd thrive. On Kaiser's birthday, he arrived home to an empty house, but to his surprise, his daughters jumped out with party poppers, shouting happy birthday and presenting a cake. They gave him the necklace they'd worked hard to earn, and tears streamed down Kaiser's cheeks, touched by their heartfelt gesture. At their request, he wore the gift and shared the cake, lost in thought again. He had assumed he'd easily see them off in 4 years, but now he knew he'd miss them dearly. Though he couldn't leave the village he protected, Kaiser resolved to shower his daughters with love until their departure. 4 years later, the time came. His daughters all turned 14. Elsa chose to follow the path of the sword, mastering Kaiser's techniques and making them her own, while also serving as a village guardian, bravely fighting monsters. As Kaiser and Elsa walked home after defeating a monster, they discussed her recent victory in the swordsmanship tournament, her 4th consecutive win, which led to her being banned, just like Kaiser years ago. Kaiser remarked that Elsa's tournament ban mirrored his own at her age, calling it a like father, like daughter moment, which delighted Elsa, thrilled to share this connection with him. When they arrived home, Anna and Meryl greeted them warmly. Meryl, as usual, clung to Kaiser, proudly claiming she helped with dinner, though Anna, exasperated, noted Meryl only carried the food. Anna, now excelling in management and negotiation, had boosted the village's finances so significantly that they named a holiday, Thanksgiving, in her honor the day after. Meryl, still a spoiled child who often skipped magic training, had committed to using her magic for others rather than selfish purposes. Excitedly, Meryl shared her discovery of a hot spring using earth magic, boasting it would benefit the village. She eagerly asked Kaiser for praise, which he gladly gave. Anna chimed in, noting that a hot spring district could draw more visitors, but warned that more people might attract more monster attacks, urging Kaiser to stay vigilant. Kaiser reassured her, saying his body, even in his 30s, showed no signs of weakening and felt stronger than ever. As they sat down for dinner, Kaiser expressed excitement for Anna's cooking. Anna modestly said it was just an imitation of his recipes, but admitted she was especially motivated today. In her mind, she reflected that this was their last day living with Kaiser, as she and her sisters would leave for the capital tomorrow, having reached the age to pursue their own paths. At 14, Elsa chose to become an adventurer like Kaiser, Anna set her sights on becoming a guild master, and Meryl opted for the path of a magician, though she jokingly asked if she could just be a freeloader. After deep reflection and finishing dinner, Kaiser asked his daughters if they'd completed their preparations for their departure tomorrow. Anna, wiping her mouth, said they hadn't, explaining that moving out involved packing many things. She suggested Kaiser take a bath first since they were still preparing, and he agreed. While soaking in the bathtub, Kaiser grappled with his fear of revealing the truth, that he adopted them and wasn't their biological father. Over the years, he tried countless times to tell them, but lacked the courage, haunted by the tragedy he caused in their village that claimed their real parents. He wondered what kind of people their parents were. Lost in thought, Kaiser was startled when his daughters entered the bathroom, offering to wash his back. Though hesitant, he agreed and offered to scrub their backs in return. During the bath, Kaiser asked Anna and Elsa to look after Meryl and each other. The girls promised to stay in touch through letters, reassuring him they'd be fine. Later, as they slept together, Kaiser reflected on how his once tiny daughters had grown so much. Tomorrow they would spread their wings and set out on their own. The next day, Kaiser bid a heartfelt goodbye to his daughters, watching their figures fade into the distance. Gazelle appeared behind him, asking if the burden on Kaiser's shoulders had lifted now that the girls were gone. Kaiser felt the opposite but kept silent. Ultimately, Elsa, Anna, and Meryl embarked on paths separate from Kaiser, but 4 years later, their parent-child story would begin anew. A month ago, while Kaiser was collecting food supplies at Gazelle's bar, they had a profound conversation. Gazelle handed Kaiser a letter from his daughters, revealing their request for him to join them in the capital. Gazelle urged Kaiser to go live with them, leaving Kaiser stunned. When Kaiser asked about the village's safety, Gazelle assured him it was secure, thanks to the guardians Kaiser had trained and a lightning magic fence protecting the fields. As for Kaiser's house, Gazelle offered to look after it. He acknowledged Kaiser's hesitation due to his village responsibilities, praising his unwavering sense of duty. Gazelle emphasized that Kaiser's life was his own, and he was free to choose his path. Speechless, Kaiser simply thanked him. Now, as Kaiser traveled to the capital in a carriage, the coachman spotted knights ahead. Kaiser noticed the kingdom's crest on their armor. As their carriage neared, the knights approached, mentioning Kaiser's name and noting he was coming from this road. Kaiser, puzzled by the presence of the kingdom's knights, wondered if they were after him, possibly due to the incident from years ago. Fearing his tarnished reputation had caught up, he braced for trouble. When a knight asked if he was an adventurer and demanded his name, Kaiser confirmed he was their target, shifting into a combat stance. To his surprise, the knights, smiling, placed their hands on their right chests in unison, declaring they'd been waiting for him. Suddenly, Elsa ran toward Kaiser, waving and shouting "Father." She leaped into his arms, saying how much she missed him, and proudly shared that she'd become an S-rank adventurer and the 50th commander of the Wagenstein Kingdom's Knights Order. Kaiser was awestruck by her accomplishments. As they talked, the knights urged them to head to the capital quickly, and Kaiser agreed. Upon arriving, Kaiser asked Elsa about Anna and Meryl. Elsa explained Anna was busy at the guild, and Meryl, who was supposed to join her to greet Kaiser, was likely sleeping since it was late. When Elsa asked Kaiser's plans, he said he was looking for a job but needed a place to stay first. He learned Meryl had already left her dormitory to live with him upon hearing of his arrival, meaning they needed a home soon. With Elsa's status as Knight Commander, her referral secured them a vacant house at no cost. Kaiser, however, struggled to choose between two available homes, one in the residential district and one in the aristocratic district. While Kaiser was selecting a house, a disturbance unfolded on Aristocrat Road. A boy from the residential district had sneaked in to search for his dog, but an aristocratic woman spotted him, insulted him as a peasant, and kicked his dog away, hating the idea of a peasant's pet near her. After having the boy and his dog removed from the district, the proud woman greeted Elsa and Kaiser. Having observed the incident and discovering the character of some aristocratic residents, Kaiser chose to live in the residential district rather than be neighbors with such a woman. After leaving, Kaiser apologized to Elsa for deciding without asking her preference, but Elsa shared the same opinion about the woman and supported Kaiser's choice. Meanwhile, Meryl was waiting for them, holding circus props to display to her father. Laughter and applause rang out as Meryl captivated the crowd, drawing Kaiser and Elsa's attention. Meryl was putting on a street show in the residential district, attracting an ever-growing audience during her act. As Elsa and Kaiser approached, Kaiser sought to understand the reason for the crowd in their path. Meryl had promised the audience an astonishing performance before their arrival. When Kaiser and Elsa finally reached her, Kaiser was left speechless, and Elsa felt uneasy as the crowd showered Meryl with tips after she invited them to tip her freely. Meryl radiated happiness, having earned some pocket money. With a smile, Kaiser acknowledged her street performance, and Meryl quickly confirmed, explaining she did it to pass the time while waiting for them, delighted with the tips she collected. While Meryl was waiting and thrilled about the tips she earned, Elsa asked her about getting a steady job. Meryl rejected the idea, saying a cute girl like her would rather live as a freeloader, prompting Elsa to remark that she was hopeless. Then Elsa asked Meryl how she knew they'd end up at this location. Meryl explained that she had seen Elsa's list of potential houses the previous day and was confident Kaiser would pick the residential district over the aristocratic district. Kaiser then asked Meryl if she would have preferred the aristocratic district, but Meryl quickly said no, stating that while a cute girl like her loves money, she despises people who act superior just because they're wealthy. This made Kaiser smile, proud of how he raised his daughters. As they continued their warm conversation, a man shouted for help. Kaiser and his daughters rushed to him, asking what was wrong. The man explained that the magic artifact powering the fountain had run out of magic, leaving them without water for daily needs if left unresolved. Hearing this, Kaiser thought deeply, while Elsa asked Meryl what they should do. Meryl clarified that they simply needed to infuse magic into the device to recharge it, which would restart the water flow. Kaiser promptly volunteered to handle it, but the man expressed doubt, noting that the previous month, it took 5 top-tier wizards a whole day to recharge it, and he doubted Kaiser could do it alone. Meryl reassured the man, confidently stating that Kaiser possesses magical power surpassing even the wizards of the royal palace, which stunned the man. Kaiser approached the magical device, and within a second of touching it, water began flowing again, leaving everyone in awe. The crowd showered Kaiser with gratitude, especially the man, who assumed Kaiser was Meryl's father. He praised Meryl's good deeds, explaining that her magical devices ensured access to magic-powered water and heat, greatly improving their quality of life, as securing water for daily needs was previously difficult. The man expressed his thanks again before leaving. Reflecting on the man's words, Kaiser felt proud of Meryl's contributions. Moments later, Elsa suggested that while she handled the luggage, Kaiser should visit the Adventurers Guild to pick up Anna, adding that Anna would be delighted to see him. Kaiser agreed and soon stood before the Adventurers Guild, a place he hadn't visited in 18 years. Nervous at the entrance, he was rudely told to move by an arrogant man. Kaiser apologized and, after a brief hesitation, entered. Inside, he met one of Anna's workmates, who initially mistook him for Anna's lover. The workmate shared rumors about Kaiser, describing him as firm, reliable, and wonderful, based on Anna's praise. The workmate noted that Anna, the fastest to climb the Adventurers Guild ranks and a genius who became guild master, spoke highly of her father, suggesting he must be remarkable. During their conversation, they overheard a commotion. Kaiser spotted his daughter Anna confronting the same rude man from outside, who was demanding an A-rank mission despite only holding a B-rank status. Anna cautioned the man that he was too weak for the A-rank quest, but when he refused to back down, she proposed a challenge: defeat a former A-rank adventurer, and she'd grant his request. The man eagerly accepted. Kaiser, watching this unfold, grew nervous, worrying that adventurer standards might have risen since his time, potentially making him below the current A-rank level. As the duel between Kaiser and the man began, Kaiser asked him to go easy, but he swiftly defeated the man with such ease that the man crashed to the floor, astonishing the onlookers. The crowd cheered and marveled at Kaiser's display, while Anna, delighted, told the man he was nowhere near A-rank, proving her point. After the intense guild encounter, Anna and Kaiser walked back to their new home. Anna thanked Kaiser, but he had a lingering question. What would she have done if he had lost? Anna reassured him, confident in his unmatched strength, declaring Kaiser the strongest person in the world, incapable of losing. She added that, oddly, people treated Kaiser as if he were younger than the 22-year-old man he defeated, a 13-year age gap that shocked Kaiser. When they arrived home, Elsa and Meryl's faces showed horror and jealousy upon seeing Anna and Kaiser holding hands. Elsa protested, calling hand-holding off-limits and unhealthy, while Meryl agreed, insisting she was the only one legally allowed to be so close to Kaiser. Anna countered that it's normal for parents and children to hold hands. Hearing this, Elsa and Meryl rushed to Kaiser, hugging him tightly after their playful teasing. Kaiser decided to prepare dinner, delighting his daughters with their favorite rabbit stew. During the meal, Anna expressed her admiration for Kaiser's versatility, noting his skills with swords, magic, and cooking, claiming he could do anything. Kaiser humbly disagreed, highlighting his daughter's unique talents instead. He praised Elsa as the knight commander with exceptional leadership to guide groups, Anna as the guild master with the ability to manage and lead organizations, and Meryl as a magical device inventor whose innovations have transformed lives, sparking a technological revolution that will shape history. Kaiser stressed that these were remarkable feats he couldn't achieve, admitting he only dabbled in swords, magic, and cooking. He concluded by saying he's simply a father who loves his daughters. Elsa then brought up the topic of Kaiser's job, revealing that they wanted him to become their instructor at the Knight's Order, per everyone's request. Kaiser asked why they chose him, and Anna explained they needed a great swordsman like him, noting that Elsa always credited Kaiser for teaching her everything about swordsmanship, essentially creating a master swordsman. Elsa added that she had already secured permission from His Majesty, and Kaiser could start the next day. Anna also mentioned that Kaiser's help with high-rank missions would be invaluable. Despite their confidence, Kaiser doubted his abilities, citing his 18 years of inactivity. Anna countered, saying that in all her time at the guild, she had never seen anyone more skilled than Kaiser, which made him sheepishly call her absurd for such praise. Ultimately, Kaiser agreed to their request. The next day, Kaiser and Elsa were seen walking through Von Stein Castle. Von Stein Castle towers over the city, serving as the royal family's residence, a government office, and a symbol of authority. Kaiser marveled at its immense size, noting that its barracks would now be his workplace. Elsa called the knights to assemble, and they quickly lined up, greeting her and Kaiser with enthusiasm. Elsa introduced Kaiser as their new instructor, but before training began, a knight requested a mock battle between Kaiser and Elsa to witness Kaiser's skills firsthand. This suggestion angered Elsa, who felt it disrespected her father, but Kaiser calmed her and accepted the challenge. He remarked that it had been a while since their last mock battle and expressed curiosity about Elsa's current strength as an S-rank adventurer. Kaiser urged Elsa to demonstrate her full power. Elsa reflected deeply, recalling how she was no match for Kaiser back in Yuza village. Having trained rigorously in the capital for 4 years, she had become an S-rank adventurer and knight commander. Determined that today she would triumph, Elsa agreed to the duel, promising a fierce match. Kaiser responded confidently, encouraging her to come at him with everything she had. As Elsa gripped her wooden sword, her mind raced. She acknowledged that no one in the capital had ever surpassed Kaiser's strength, rendering her usual techniques ineffective against him. Deciding a direct approach was best, Elsa charged at Kaiser with full force, striking first. Kaiser effortlessly blocked her attack. She unleashed a flurry of strikes, but Kaiser countered each one with ease. Elsa pressed her assault, but Kaiser nimbly dodged her next move. Kaiser gave Elsa no chance to catch her breath as their mock battle intensified. In her mind, Elsa couldn't help but admire Kaiser's strength, noting how he effortlessly deflected her attacks and capitalized on even the smallest openings. His precision, power, and strategic restraint confirmed his incredible skill, despite never achieving S-rank adventurer status himself. Elsa, who had trained tirelessly, hoped to at least match him. Amid these thoughts, she took a hard kick from Kaiser, sparking self-doubt. As an S-rank adventurer and knight commander, she questioned what she needed to do next. Seeing Kaiser stand resolute with his sword, Elsa had a revelation. She realized the mock battle wasn't about winning or losing. Kaiser wanted to witness her growth as his daughter, to see how far she had come. With this clarity, Elsa resolved to strike Kaiser with all her strength. Her final attack was so powerful it triggered a massive explosion, leaving the watching knights stunned, unable to discern the victor. As the dust settled, Kaiser emerged as the winner. He praised Elsa, patted her head, and told her she had grown stronger, beaming with pride. The knights, still reeling from the spectacle, rushed over, voicing their awe and admiration for the battle. Elsa was thrilled by Kaiser's praise, but acknowledged she still had a long way to go to reach his level. Elsa reflected that a vast gap still separated her from Kaiser's skill, like a towering wall she needed to scale, yet she found comfort in that distance. After the eventful day, Kaiser began training the knights, instructing them to warm up by running 20 laps around the castle in full armor, which horrified and shocked them. Despite their initial dismay, they completed the task, aspiring to become sword masters. A curly-haired knight expressed his excitement, believing this training would transform him from an unpopular, gloomy figure to a charismatic, cheerful one. Kaiser congratulated the group on their progress and shared advice, stressing that being a swordsman required more than just swordsmanship. It demanded stamina for long marches. He recommended daily training to boost their endurance, and the knights unanimously agreed. Kaiser then proposed moving to muscle training, starting with 500 push-ups, sit-ups, and back crunches each, followed by 500 sword swings. The knights were stunned, questioning if he had misspoken the numbers. Suddenly, a girl appeared, angrily challenging if this was their idea of a first day's training. 3 knights echoed her, calling it excessive. She revealed that her village's training was twice as rigorous and questioned if Kaiser was being too lenient. Kaiser acknowledged her point, correcting his earlier mistake by increasing the sword swings to 1,000. He explained he had intended to ease them into training gradually, but paused when she interrupted, seemingly expecting more intensity from a father like him. As the 3 knights overheard Kaiser and the girl's conversation, one remarked that the training felt friendly and manageable compared to their village's regimen. Another noted that Kaiser and his daughter had endured far tougher training, while the third called them a monstrous father-daughter duo. Kaiser urged everyone to stand and start running before sunset, and they complied, reflecting on the grueling training Commander Elsa must have faced since childhood. The third knight praised Elsa as a genius swordswoman, explaining her remarkable strength. Kaiser and Elsa acknowledged their fatigue, realizing their sense of normal was extraordinary to others. They recalled Elsa's shock upon arriving in the capital, finding the renowned strict knight training surprisingly easy, like a leisurely stroll. They agreed their training under Kaiser was exceptional. Kaiser reassured Elsa that he didn't find it too harsh, and they shared a laugh, reminiscing about their journey. Kaiser observed Natalie's progress, noting her potential as a knight and her frequent requests to spar with Elsa to hone her skills, which impressed him. Elsa had clearly taken notice of her. Kaiser then announced the day's final activity, a practice match, instructing everyone to pair up, offering himself as a partner for anyone willing. The two knights instantly decided to avoid pairing with Kaiser at all costs, fearing his prowess with even a wooden sword after witnessing his earlier mock battle. Kaiser sensed the knights' reluctance and chose to focus on teaching rather than pushing for a match, but Natalie boldly called out, requesting to be his partner. Recognizing her as the driven girl from earlier, Kaiser agreed, eager to train with her. Natalie thanked him with a bow. Her decision to pair with Kaiser sparked murmurs among the knights, with some wondering if she was unwell or reckless, while another speculated Kaiser would go easy on a girl like her. As their match began, Natalie's fierce competitiveness shone through. Just when Kaiser thought the duel was over, she launched a surprising counterattack, impressing him. He realized Elsa was right about Natalie's potential, admiring her refined technique and indomitable spirit. During their bout, Kaiser noted Elsa's exceptional subordinates. Unable to hold back, he struck with full force, knocking Natalie down. He quickly checked on her, asking if she was all right. Natalie acknowledged Kaiser's strength but pointed out the unfairness of him using 3 swords simultaneously. Surprised she had noticed, Kaiser praised her keen observation, noting that most swordsmen would have been defeated without detecting it. Natalie thanked him but voiced her frustration, having trained for years to land a hit on him. Curious, Kaiser asked how she knew of him, as it was their first meeting. Natalie explained that Elsa had described him as a master swordsman she could never best, inspiring Natalie to aim to impress Elsa by landing a hit on Kaiser. Kaiser chuckled at her zeal, but Natalie clarified that her admiration for Elsa wasn't just professional. She harbored romantic feelings, dreaming of holding hands, kissing, and building a family with her. Kaiser, puzzled, asked Natalie if she was confessing romantic feelings for Elsa. Natalie affirmed, portraying Elsa as a flawless, kind goddess who had stolen her heart. She admitted she couldn't forgive Kaiser, believing he had taken Elsa from her. Confused, Kaiser sought clarification on how he had supposedly stolen Elsa. Natalie explained that since Elsa left the Knights' Order dormitories to live with Kaiser in the capital, she felt her romantic fantasies about Elsa were thwarted, hoping to win Elsa's affection by one day defeating Kaiser. During their talk, Elsa suggested they take a bath together, surprising Natalie. Elsa clarified they were close friends, so there was no need for concern. They relaxed in the warm water, chatting about training. Elsa complimented Natalie's strength and beauty, praising her impressive physique. Blushing, Natalie thanked her. In a playful moment, Elsa jokingly grabbed Natalie's shoulders, teasing that her strength was practically a superpower. Natalie's mind wandered, imagining herself as a powerful warrior captivating Elsa with her swordsmanship. But Elsa's voice snapped her back, asking about the tension she sensed between Natalie and Kaiser. Natalie quickly reassured Elsa it was just her imagination, denying any conflict with Kaiser, and they discussed training techniques. Elsa, relieved, was glad her friends were getting along. She praised Natalie's passion, calling her a wonderful girl, and expressed confidence that Kaiser could teach her valuable skills, encouraging Natalie to keep learning from him and wishing her well. As Elsa departed, Natalie couldn't contain her excitement and admiration, finding Elsa incredibly cool. Kaiser noticed Natalie's demeanor shift around Elsa, comparing her to a shy, nervous, yet adoring domesticated cat. He reassured Natalie that feeling nervous around someone she admired was normal, adding that everyone has a role model. If Elsa was hers, he'd support her quietly. Natalie, stunned and overjoyed by Kaiser's kindness, impulsively asked for Elsa and Kaiser's addresses to visit them at night. Kaiser, realizing he'd overstepped, quickly retracted his offer, apologizing and clarifying that nighttime visits weren't feasible. Still, he promised to support her as a friend. He asked if she had misunderstood or planned to sneak into their home, and Natalie nodded, admitting she struggled to express herself and lacked confidence in winning Elsa's heart. Kaiser, puzzled, asked how sneaking in would help. Natalie explained she thought making Elsa feel happy and appreciated would capture her heart. Kaiser, recognizing her vivid imagination, knew he had to address this carefully. He explained that, as a responsible adult, he couldn't condone sneaking into their house, but Natalie insisted love required overcoming obstacles, believing she could earn Elsa's affection by surpassing Kaiser's disapproval. Suddenly, Natalie proposed a bold idea, asking Kaiser for a kiss on the lips, not the cheek. Shocked, Kaiser asked why, and she reasoned that since he'd likely kissed Elsa as a child, an indirect kiss would connect her to Elsa. Kaiser, finding this odd, declined, calling it indirect and impractical. Undeterred, Natalie then inquired about the soap Elsa used. Kaiser asked why Natalie was interested in Elsa's soap, and she revealed that eating the soap of someone she liked made her feel connected to them. Alarmed, Kaiser recognized that Natalie's fixation on Elsa was growing excessive and required careful handling. Determined to steer her away from such unconventional tactics, he committed to guiding her toward approaching Elsa respectfully, emphasizing the value of healthy, genuine relationships and ensuring Natalie understood this. Later, as Kaiser read a book, Elsa passed by, mentioning she was heading to bathe. He suggested she enjoy a slow, warm bath. Suddenly, a noise outside startled him, and he rushed to the window, spotting a figure he suspected was Natalie. Doubting she'd already followed them home for her nighttime sneaking plan, he suspected she might be trying to peek at Elsa bathing. Elsa, unaware of Natalie's intentions, asked if something was wrong, but Kaiser dismissed it, claiming it was nothing. Abruptly, he asked if they could bathe together, surprising Elsa, who agreed. In the bathroom, they stood back to back while undressing, and Kaiser realized Natalie might indeed try to spy on Elsa. He considered confronting her directly but knew she'd likely try again or sneak in later. By making Natalie believe he and Elsa were bathing together, he hoped to deter her from peeking, protecting his daughter's privacy as a father. As they began bathing, Elsa offered to wash Kaiser's back. He initially declined, saying it wasn't necessary, but she insisted. While gently scrubbing, Elsa admired her father's strong, fit physique. Kaiser thanked her, but a sudden noise from the window startled him. Kaiser swiftly covered Elsa, suspecting Natalie was attempting to peek at her naked, determined to safeguard his daughter's privacy. In his rush, he accidentally fell on top of Elsa, pinning her hands, which startled her. Focused on the window, Kaiser confirmed his suspicions when Natalie shouted dragon and fled. Relieved the heat poured at her, Kaiser helped Elsa stand. Still confused, Elsa asked if he was okay, but noticing they were both naked and his towel had slipped, she urged him to cover up. When Anna arrived home, she saw Elsa lying on the couch with Kaiser nearby and, concerned, asked about her condition. Kaiser explained that Elsa felt dizzy during her bath, but would recover after resting. Anna found this odd, as Elsa was typically vibrant and strong. Suddenly, Meryl called out to Kaiser, affectionately calling him Daddy and asking to bathe together. Kaiser apologized, saying he'd already bathed, disappointing Meryl, who felt it was unfair that he bathed with Elsa but not her. Despite her attempts to convince him, Kaiser gently declined, noting he needed to prepare dinner. Anna, overhearing, pieced together why Elsa seemed off. She approached Meryl, explaining that if their father wouldn't bathe with her, it didn't mean she should skip washing. Anna stressed the importance of hygiene to uphold the Clyde family's reputation, warning against going to school dirty. Resolute, Anna offered to accompany Meryl if she needed someone, taking her sister's hand and leading her to the bathroom while Kaiser began cooking dinner. While Kaiser prepared dinner, he noticed Elsa had woken up and, concerned, asked how she felt. She assured him she was better. He apologized for not noticing her earlier discomfort, vowing to be more attentive. Elsa playfully wondered if that meant more shared baths, but her thoughts were cut off as Anna and Meryl entered, fresh from bathing. Meryl eagerly announced she was ready for their daddy's homemade meal, but Anna reminded her to dry off first to avoid catching a cold. The family headed back to the bathroom, and Elsa apologized to Kaiser, who reassured her it was fine. Soon, they gathered for dinner, and Anna asked Kaiser about the day's training. He reported it went well, noting that everyone completed his training menu, though they were exhausted despite his leniency. He admitted he needed to tweak the regimen. Anna commented that Kaiser's extraordinary abilities made it tough for the knights to keep up, adding that the guild sometimes collaborated with the Knights' Order, so strengthening them would be valuable. Kaiser promised to intensify his efforts. He then recalled Anna's earlier request for his help at the guild and asked if he should visit the next day. Anna encouraged him, explaining they were short on people for high-ranking missions, which is why she hadn't asked earlier due to his first training day. Kaiser agreed, but Meryl protested, reminding them of a planned date tomorrow. Kaiser had forgotten, and Anna noted she'd be at school, unable to join for a date with Kaiser. After training ended, the exhausted knights thanked Kaiser, eagerly discussing their plans to bathe and eat. Spotting Natalie, Kaiser approached to address the previous night's incident, but paused when she boldly declared she'd win Elsa's heart through strength. Noticing her calm departure without causing trouble, Kaiser sensed she'd abandoned her extreme tactics. As the knights returned to their barracks, Kaiser headed to the Adventurers Guild. Upon arriving, he was greeted by Anna's workmate, who introduced herself as Monica, the guild counter-manager skilled in public relations, sales, and administration. Shifting topics, Monica recalled the arm wrestling match with a man named Gar a few days prior, praising Kaiser's remarkable strength, which she'd never seen before. Kaiser thanked her, and Monica added that Gar's rudeness to other receptionists had made him unpopular, thanking Kaiser for humbling him. Kaiser briefly expressed his pleasure in helping. When Monica asked why he was there, Anna called out, approaching them. Anna said Kaiser's timing was perfect, then feigned tears. Confused, Kaiser asked what was wrong. Anna explained that B-rank emergency request had just arrived, but capable adventurers rejected it, deeming the reward insufficient. If the ogre wasn't defeated today, it would attack a nearby village. Kaiser agreed it was a serious issue, and Anna vented her frustration with selfish adventurers driven solely by personal gain. Anna expressed her frustration about their repulsive and self-centered behavior, prompting Kaiser to acknowledge her worries and promise to resolve the issue. Overjoyed, Anna declared she expected no less from her father and committed to managing all the necessary documents. She handed Kaiser a paper, which revealed that V Village was near their current location. Kaiser announced he'd be gone for some time, as he needed to complete the task before dinner. Anna wished him luck, but Monica questioned if he was leaving her by herself, noting that ogre subjugation missions typically require 4 people. Anna admitted they were understaffed, but Monica argued this was precisely why Kaiser shouldn't go, questioning if Anna was indifferent to her father's safety or held some resentment. Anna firmly denied any ill feelings toward her father. Monica urged them to cancel the mission, insisting it was unfeasible for 1 person and that they needed at least 2 more. Anna, however, confidently stated that the ideal team for an ogre subjugation was 1 A-rank adventurer with several B-rank adventurers, but she believed Kaiser's strength allowed him to handle it solo. Kaiser cautioned that they'd only know for sure once on the mission, while Monica warned him not to act fearless just to impress his daughter, adding that she'd pray for his safety. Kaiser playfully asked her not to kill him off without his consent. Later, as Kaiser prepared and trekked through the forest, he stumbled upon an unexpected adventurer subjugation mission, his first in 18 years. The smell of liquid in the air signaled the nearby presence of the target, an ogre, its 2 horns and robust, mountain-like frame visible from afar. Kaiser mused that if his strength was only at this level, he'd rather be back home. Kaiser returned safely to the Adventurers Guild in time for dinner, the mission complete. Monica, curious about how it went, noted it had only been a few hours and asked for details. Kaiser described the mission he'd undertaken before leaving. Monica teased that he might have gotten scared and returned, assuming he was too afraid to face the ogre alone, but Kaiser calmly corrected her misconception. Noticing something on his shirt, Monica remarked that he shouldn't feel ashamed if he'd fled from such a dangerous beast and suggested they gather a proper team before he tried again. Puzzled, Kaiser asked why she'd assumed he'd failed. Just then, Anna returned, joyfully greeting her father and marveling at how quickly he'd finished the mission. Kaiser explained to Anna that he'd encountered the ogre sooner than anticipated and showed her the proof, the creature's 2 horns. Monica was stunned that he'd defeated the ogre alone and so swiftly. Kaiser admitted that dismantling the ogre's corpse took longer than the fight itself, as he was rusty from not going on quests lately, though the mission wasn't as daunting as he'd expected. Anna proudly reminded Monica that she'd vouched for Kaiser's strength, though even she hadn't expected him to handle an AB-rank mission solo. Kaiser shared that in his youth, he often took on such missions alone to quickly boost his adventurer rank, recommending the approach to Anna. Monica, impressed, noted that only Kaiser could say such a thing so calmly. The next day, before dawn when the night's chill lingered, their family stirred. Elsa, the eldest daughter, was the first to rise, starting her morning with her unwavering routine of stretching, running, muscle training, and a shower, a regimen she hadn't skipped since her village days, which kept her strong. Anna, the middle daughter, woke as the sun began to rise. As guild master, Anna's mornings are packed until breakfast, when she dives into the capital's newspapers, absorbing news on global events, the economy, and entertainment to stay informed about the world, a key part of her role. Her daily dedication has earned her this position. Meanwhile, Kaiser rises before his daughters to cook a hearty breakfast, ensuring they start the day productively with a meal made with care. Afterward, he sees his daughters off to work, a routine he settled into in the capital. Upstairs, he checks on his youngest daughter, Meryl, still in bed. While Elsa rises before dawn and Anna with the sunrise, Meryl remains fast asleep even after the sun is high. Kaiser gently tries to wake her, but Meryl mumbles for 10 more minutes. He points out she's been saying that for 2 hours and warns that breakfast will get cold if she doesn't rise soon. Groggy, Meryl playfully asks Kaiser to feed her mouth to mouth, but he laughs, assuring her he's joking, and urges her to get up or she'll be late for the Magic Academy. Meryl grumbles that she dislikes going because it's sunny, confusing Kaiser, who asks if she'd prefer rainy days. To his surprise, Meryl said she wouldn't go then either, as she get wet and catch a cold. Still in bed, she insists she has her own way of doing things, believing it's fine to skip the academy some days. With that, she drifts back to sleep. A sudden knock at the door pulls Kaiser downstairs to investigate the early morning visitor. Opening the door, he greets a girl with eyeglasses who introduces herself as Irene, an instructor at the Magic Academy, asking if this is Meryl's house. Kaiser confirms she's at the right place. Kaiser introduced himself as Meryl's father, surprised when Irene apologized for mistaking him for an older brother due to his youthful look. She mentioned hearing rumors about him, sparking Kaiser's curiosity. When he asked, Irene shared that Meryl often speaks fondly of her father, expressing her love and even joking about marrying him. Confused by Irene's visit, Kaiser inquired about her purpose, and she explained she was there to pick up the procrastinating Meryl, as it was her assigned duty. Kaiser appreciated her straightforwardness and invited her to talk to Meryl directly, which Irene confirmed was her plan. Kaiser asked if Meryl had always been this way since moving to the dorms, and Irene nodded, noting that Meryl is highly driven when inventing magical devices, but sleeps when uninspired, attending school independently only about 30% of the time, lower than Kaiser expected. Kaiser led Irene to Meryl's room, where he entered and told Meryl that her Magic Academy instructor had come to get her. Still half asleep, Meryl mumbled that she wasn't there, but Irene, having overheard, addressed her directly, startling Meryl. Irene reminded Meryl that, as a scholarship student, she was required to attend classes. She praised Meryl's remarkable drive for magic and her numerous inventions, calling her one of history's most talented magicians. However, Irene questioned why Meryl skipped classes. Clinging to Kaiser, Meryl explained that she didn't want to attend because her father was now living with her, and going to class would mean being apart from him, which she couldn't stand. Irene, surprised by their close bond, playfully called Meryl a father's girl while glancing at Kaiser. Undeterred, Irene suggested a solution, proposing that if Meryl didn't want to be separated from her father, they could find a way to address her reluctance. Irene proposed that Meryl would attend the Magic Academy if Kaiser became a teacher there, leaving both Meryl and Kaiser stunned. Irene asked Kaiser if he'd consider the role, assuring him that Meryl would attend willingly if he did, and noted that magical expertise wasn't critical. They'd offer a fair salary and only required him to know some magic. Kaiser admitted he knew a bit of magic, but was still learning, prompting Irene to ask what the issue was and inquire about his current job. Kaiser clarified that he didn't have a steady occupation, working instead as an instructor for the Knights Order and as an adventurer. Irene suggested he could join the academy as a part-time teacher, allowing him to work alongside full-time staff and balance his other commitments. After outlining the details, she asked for his thoughts and whether he'd accept. As Kaiser considered the offer, Meryl eagerly asked if he'd become a teacher, thrilled at the idea of flirting with him at the academy and attending classes. Moved by Meryl's excitement, Kaiser agreed to the offer. Irene thanked him and mentioned she'd need to verify his magic power level. When Kaiser sought clarification, Irene explained that the Academy's magic barrier, used for crime prevention, could harm someone with insufficient magical power if they stayed within it too long. She pulled out a crystal-like device to measure his magic power level. The crystal-like device, crafted to reveal a person's magical power level through their magic circuits, emitted one of 6 colors: purple, blue, green, yellow, orange, or red, from highest to lowest. Kaiser was astonished by the device, and Irene revealed it was Meryl's invention, saving the Academy significant costs on magic measuring tools. She noted that a yellow glow or higher meant the barrier would pose no harm, but a lower level would require further discussion. When Kaiser touched the crystal, it unexpectedly cracked, emitting a strange light, leaving Irene baffled. Meryl gleefully announced that her father's magical power was so extraordinarily high that the standard device couldn't measure it, suggesting a house-sized device would be needed for accuracy. Irene, shocked, remarked that this implied Kaiser's power surpassed hers and all other instructors. Meryl proudly declared her father was the super-ultra-mega-amazing strongest magician in the world. Stunned, Irene urged Kaiser to come to the academy immediately to meet the director, and Kaiser calmly agreed. At Cantor Magic Academy, Kaiser marveled at the sight, and Irene, noting it was his first visit, offered to share details with his permission. She explained that the academy, attended by over 1,000 students kingdom-wide, was not only a hub for combat magic, but also a leading center for magical research and development, with graduates earning recognition as top magicians. Irene stressed that the director, whom Kaiser was about to meet, was a highly respected figure who had led the academy for years, advising him to stand tall. She knocked, and they entered a room where a girl, seated in a chair, appeared to be the director. The director asked who they were, and Irene explained that the man was Meryl's father, adding that to encourage Meryl's attendance, she proposed Kaiser become a part-time teacher but needed the director's approval to proceed. The director, Marilyn Coleman, held the prestigious role of Academy Director. Kaiser respectfully greeted her, introducing himself as Kaiser Clyde and thanking her for looking after Meryl. Irene shared that she had tested Kaiser's magical power and found it exceeded her own and that of all other instructors. Marilyn, however, had already sensed Kaiser's uniqueness, noting his calm demeanor when introduced to her as director, a role that typically surprised others due to her youthful appearance. She saw his lack of reaction as a mark of his keen perception. Marilyn then asked Kaiser if he truly wished to join the academy as an instructor and inquired how many of the 5 great attributes, fire, water, wind, earth, and lightning, he had mastered. To everyone's shock, Meryl boldly claimed her father could wield all 5. Irene and Marilyn were astounded, as Irene explained that mastering just one attribute qualified someone as a full-fledged magician. All 3 placed them among the elite. The idea of mastering all 5 was unimaginable. Meryl proudly declared that Kaiser, who taught her magic, naturally commanded all the great attributes. Irene realized Kaiser was Meryl's mentor, guiding a prodigy like her since she joined the academy, and rumors of him teaching Knight Commander Elsa swordsmanship might also hold true. Meryl confirmed this, stating her father taught her magic and Elsa the sword, boasting that he excelled in both sword and magic, and was incredibly handsome too. Irene confidently stated that Kaiser was more than qualified to join the academy as an instructor and requested he demonstrate his magic in a recruitment test. They relocated to a spacious area for the test, where Marilyn explained that Kaiser needed to strike a target with his magic. Kaiser observed that the target was unusually large, and Marilyn revealed it was an enormous artifact from ancient ruins, previously gathering dust, now reproposed as a durable target designed to withstand even the strongest magic. She urged Kaiser to unleash his full power without holding back. Meryl cheered enthusiastically as Kaiser assessed the target, deciding that going all out might be excessive, so he opted for a controlled lightning magic strike to lessen the impact. Meryl was ecstatic, marveling at her father's coolness, while Irene and Marilyn were stunned by his display. Marilyn remarked that no one else at the academy had ever damaged the target, yet Kaiser did so effortlessly, revealing why Meryl admired him so deeply. However, Marilyn hadn't mentioned that the target was immobile. She then announced the real test, challenging Kaiser to defeat an antique hoplite, an A-ranked unknown opponent, using only magic. As Kaiser launched his attacks, showcasing his skills, Irene struggled to process what she was seeing. Marilyn, meanwhile, reflected on how magicians typically served in rear support roles, making Kaiser's ability to engage in close quarters combat a rare and remarkable feat. Marilyn confessed she was unaware someone like Kaiser existed, as magicians were typically overlooked in battles. As the antique hoplite began moving again, Kaiser realized that merely severing its head wouldn't stop it. Evading its attacks seemed nearly impossible, as dodging one would put someone else at risk. Marilyn's earlier observation proved accurate. Kaiser struggled against the hoplite's relentless onslaught, yet he refused to surrender, pausing to devise a new strategy. Marilyn initially thought he'd given up, but then noticed he was planning. Kaiser decided to direct his attacks upward to avoid damaging the surroundings. Meryl glowed with pride at her father's resolve, while Irene remained stunned, and Marilyn couldn't conceal her astonishment. She had expected the test to focus on dealing damage, but Kaiser surpassed that by completely destroying the antique hoplite. Meryl excitedly asked Marilyn if her father had passed, and Marilyn confirmed with certainty, adding that she didn't want Kaiser as a part-time instructor, but as a full-time lecturer. Meryl was thrilled at the idea. Marilyn then asked about Kaiser's other roles, and he explained he worked as an instructor for the Knight's Order and as an adventurer. When he inquired about compensation, Marilyn boldly promised the academy would triple his current earnings, leaving Kaiser taken aback. She assured him that no expense would be spared for top talent. Marilyn recognized Kaiser's extraordinary talents and felt it would be a shame to let the Knight's Order claim him. Curious about his choice, she asked for his thoughts on the offer. Kaiser expressed gratitude but declined the full-time role, explaining that his work as a Knight's Order instructor and adventurer stemmed from personal commitment to his daughter's desires, and taking a job purely for money didn't suit his values. Marilyn respected his stance, admitting she admired him even more, and agreed to appoint him as a part-time lecturer. She suggested they head to the director's office to finalize the paperwork, marking the start of new adventures and challenges. After preparing for his role, Kaiser appeared in new attire, and Irene, who had been looking for him, asked if the teacher's clothes felt comfortable. Kaiser confirmed they fit well and thanked her for providing them. Marilyn complimented his appearance and wished him luck in his teaching duties. She then informed Kaiser that his task that day was to assist Norvin, Meryl's homeroom teacher, pointing him out and explaining that Kaiser would serve as a part-time instructor and assistant, with Norvin available for guidance. Kaiser accepted the arrangement. Meryl excitedly asked if he'd attend her next class, and Kaiser happily agreed. Meryl, thrilled, announced she'd rush to the classroom to see her father's grand first entrance. As Norvin and Kaiser left together, Irene asked Marilyn if pairing them was wise. Marilyn reassured her, confident there was no cause for concern despite Norvin's aloof and prideful nature. She believed the two skilled magicians could learn from one another, potentially sparking a great friendship. Marilyn couldn't shake a slight worry that things might go awry. Kaiser quietly trailed Norvin through the hallway as Norvin voiced his disapproval of Kaiser's instructor role, insisting that only academy graduates from past generations should teach, and Kaiser didn't meet that standard. As they walked, Norvin added that Meryl was granted a special exception to attend, but he wouldn't tolerate a random magician becoming an instructor. He declared Meryl a once-in-a-lifetime genius, the greatest magician in the Academy's history, and dismissed any influence from her parents, arguing that a mediocre magician like Kaiser teaching at their prestigious academy tarnished its legacy. He admitted he hadn't taken his role to impress people like Kaiser. Kaiser calmly responded that he accepted the job for his daughter's sake, and, by extension, the school's, and Norvin's opinion as an instructor held no weight for him. Norvin snapped back, labeling Kaiser a third-rate magician with a fourth-rate mouth. They entered the classroom, with Meryl calling out to her daddy as Norvin stayed silent. Before starting, Norvin introduced Kaiser to the class as a part-time teacher and assistant, prompting a hushed silence. As Norvin lectured on magical structure, writing on the board, Kaiser observed, impressed by the class's exceptionally high level, which confirmed the Academy's reputation as the kingdom's finest. However, Kaiser felt Norvin should simplify the magical structure concept for better student comprehension. Lost in thought, he noticed Norvin angrily call out Meryl, who had fallen asleep. Frustrated, Norvin scolded her, saying that while he didn't expect her to fully grasp the material, she should at least behave as a scholarship student. Meryl retorted that his class was dull and would be far more engaging if her father taught instead. Norvin, irritated, brushed off Meryl's remark, questioning its absurdity and insisting her father couldn't outshine him as a teacher. Still, he abruptly challenged Kaiser to take over the class, proposing a test afterward, smugly stating he'd recognize Kaiser's ability only if the students scored above the previous class's average, certain Kaiser would fail. Kaiser accepted, admitting he was tired of standing idly by. When Norvin asked about his teaching experience, Kaiser replied he had none beyond instructing Meryl. Norvin, intrigued, wished him luck. Kaiser began the lesson on magical structure, using an analogy to make it clear. He asked students to picture a tub of water representing their magical power. The students responded with keen interest and enthusiasm. Kaiser explained that the more they grasped the sequence of commands in the magical structure, the easier it would be to apply them. The students nodded, realizing the concept was simpler than they'd thought. Kaiser urged them to keep this in mind for the next lesson, wrapped up the class, and invited questions before the test. Norvin, watching silently, noted Kaiser's teaching had energized the class but wondered if the students truly understood or were just caught up in the excitement. Kaiser retorted that if he aimed only to entertain, he'd be a street performer. Norvin then resumed control, debating whether the students had gained a better grasp of magic. The test began, with students diligently answering questions. When it concluded, Norvin reviewed the results and was stunned to find every student had scored perfectly, far exceeding his expectations. He realized Kaiser's teaching had produced remarkable outcomes. Kaiser modestly clarified that his success wasn't about outdoing anyone, but about fostering the potential of the talented students, which frustrated Norvin, who felt their rivalry was far from settled. Meanwhile, at the Adventurers Guild, Anna led a meeting with senior officials. Monica, anxious about documenting everything, tried to stay composed. The discussion opened with a financial report revealing an impressive 57% profit surge from the previous year, a historic high. The former guild master praised Anna, calling her one of the greatest guild masters ever and affirming that her swift appointment was the right call. Anna expressed gratitude but credited the guild staff and adventurers for the success, insisting she only provided support. The former guild master, with a hint of sarcasm, remarked on her characteristic humility. Another official commented that Anna was overly cautious, suggesting adventurers would eagerly take on more quests. Monica, puzzled by the exchange, listened as the official proposed a more aggressive deployment of personnel to cut reward costs and boost profits, arguing that while equipment was replaceable, lives were not. Anna's demeanor shifted to one of anger and resolve as she stressed the critical need to prioritize adventurers' safety to preserve the guild's trust. She firmly declared her readiness to personally handle requests if it ensured the adventurers' well-being. Anna challenged the official to act on their own suggestions, implying she'd readily do so herself, silencing the room before they moved to the next topic, the rising attacks in the eastern city of Dugo. The attendees looked to the former guild master for guidance, while Monica noticed Anna slip into her focused mode, a poised, intense state with a distant gaze that made her seem unapproachable. Anna suggested building an inn along the road nearest the volcano, between the city and the capital, to serve as a rest stop for adventurers from the capital, improving response times. One official questioned the cost, but Anna countered that inaction would lead to greater losses if monster habitats expanded and threatened the city, emphasizing the urgency. She added that if the king issued an order, the feudal lord would act swiftly, urging them to prepare accordingly. The meeting eventually wrapped up, and Monica admitted her nerves to Anna, who praised her for meticulously recording everything despite it being her first time. Monica thanked Anna as they walked, and Anna noted that with the meeting done, they only needed to submit the budget by tomorrow to finish. Monica, responsible for this term's paperwork, suddenly froze, catching Anna's attention. When Anna asked about the paperwork's progress, Monica confessed she'd made an error. At home, Kaiser sat on the couch reading, with Meryl asleep on his lap, growing concerned about Anna's delay. He asked Elsa if she knew anything, and Elsa mentioned speaking to Anna that morning about an end-of-term meeting scheduled for today. Growing concerned, Kaiser decided to check on Anna, who was buried in paperwork. Monica, overwhelmed, complained that the workload was so intense it could exhaust them to death. She mused that becoming a receptionist would let her leave work on time and marry a wealthy, handsome adventurer. Anna urged her to keep working and not get lost in unrealistic fantasies, prompting Monica to ask what was wrong with dreaming, warning that their current pace would turn them into lonely grandmas envious of young families. Anna reassured Monica that she was cute and would find a good partner, so there was no need to worry. Monica jokingly suggested marrying Kaiser, describing him as strong, handsome, and seemingly wealthy, brushing off his age as unimportant, but froze when she realized she'd said this in front of Anna, Kaiser's daughter. Flustered, Monica insisted she was kidding, saying she and Kaiser would never work out, and begged Anna to calm down. Anna, smiling, said she was glad to hear it and redirected them to focus on work, warning they'd be stuck all night otherwise. Monica reluctantly agreed. A knock at the door revealed Kaiser, and Monica lit up as if their savior had arrived. Kaiser asked Anna why she was still working so late, explaining he came because she hadn't returned home. He brought dinner he prepared, which Anna gratefully accepted, noting she had to finish a few tasks by tomorrow. Anna suggested Kaiser help with the paperwork due to their heavy load, and Monica pleaded, warning they'd be working until morning otherwise. Kaiser agreed but hesitated, unsure about handling guild documents as a non-employee. Anna reassured him it was fine since she was in charge and trusted him not to leak sensitive information. She provided instructions, and they all worked together to tackle the paperwork. After completing the paperwork, Monica called Kaiser a lifesaver, noting they'd have worked all night without him. Kaiser was pleased and thankful to have helped. Monica was impressed by Kaiser's speed and accuracy with the documents, and he explained he'd managed the household account book until Anna was grown. Anna remarked that his exceptional skills didn't change the fact that he was still her daddy. To celebrate, they headed to a bar to unwind with drinks. Curious, Kaiser asked Monica why she called Anna sis and if she was younger. Monica challenged him to guess her age, and Kaiser correctly estimated 16. Anna clarified that Monica, the youngest guild member, received her special kindness, as others resented Anna for being the youngest guild master ever. Anna noted that envy often targets those who shine, sipping her drink, which led Kaiser to ask if she was all right. Anna admitted the daily flood of requests and dealing with adventurers' quirks was exhausting. Monica agreed, pointing out Anna's fatigue but adding that as guild master, Anna kept things manageable, unlike the former master, whose neglect left them overworked with little time to relax. Monica expressed her wish for a vibrant love life like Anna's, hoping to be as popular. Confused, Kaiser asked how Anna gained such popularity, and Monica revealed adventurers frequently flirted with her, then asked if Kaiser felt bothered by it. Kaiser replied he wasn't upset, acknowledging Anna was at an age where having a boyfriend was normal. He voiced concern, however, that she might fall for someone who'd hurt her, vowing he'd never forgive anyone who caused her pain. Monica commented that Kaiser sounded like an overprotective father. Anna apologized to Monica and admitted she wasn't dating anyone, surprising Monica, who asked why Anna didn't at least try dating before rejecting suitors. Anna explained that growing up with Kaiser set a high standard, making others seem unreliable in comparison. Monica nodded, noting Kaiser's unmatched strength, even against Elsa, and that no man rivaled him. Anna agreed, praising Kaiser's exceptional strength and dependability. As she grew tipsy, Anna rested her head on the table, gazing at Kaiser and jokingly saying if she couldn't marry anyone, he'd have to take responsibility. Kaiser, noticing her flushed face, asked if she was drunk, and Anna admitted she wouldn't say such things sober. She rambled on, mentioning how Meryl constantly gushed about Daddy, and though she didn't say it, she felt similarly. Eventually, Anna dozed off at the table. Kaiser paid the tab, remarking it was rare to see Anna act so childlike, given her usual composed demeanor at work. Monica teased that Anna must like him, calling Kaiser a charmer. As he lifted Anna to carry her, Kaiser quipped that if Monica's flattery was a ploy to dodge the bill, he'd cover it. Monica playfully acted as if her plan worked, and Kaiser, chuckling, said he fell for it. After parting ways, Kaiser carried Anna on his back through the streets, reflecting on how, despite her role as a powerful guild master, she was still a spoiled 18-year-old at heart. As a father, he wanted to see her grow and become independent, but his thoughts were cut short when Anna mumbled that she liked and loved him. Kaiser, assuming she was drunk, sighed, thinking she was a handful. The next morning, Anna woke up, struggling to piece together the previous night's events. Anna woke with a throbbing headache and no memory of the previous night. She left her room and saw Kaiser reading at the table. They exchanged good morning greetings, and Kaiser commented that she had a tough night. Noticing her confusion, he explained that she got drunk and passed out during their drinking session, handing her a glass of water. He also mentioned he had boiled water for her to bathe. While soaking in the bathtub, fragments of the night before slowly came back to Anna. She recalled going out drinking with two others and was shocked by her bold actions. She realized she woke up in a nightgown, meaning her father had changed her clothes while she was asleep. At 18, the thought of her dad dressing her embarrassed her. After her bath, Kaiser called her for breakfast but noticed her flushed face as she sat down. Concerned, he asked if she was still unwell, but she assured him she was fine. They ate breakfast with Elsa, and Anna felt Kaiser seemed unchanged despite her actions the previous night. She knew she needed to be more careful. Meanwhile, Meryl, Elsa, and Natalie rode horses through the mountains. Elsa asked Natalie how long until they reached their destination, and Natalie said just a few minutes. Elsa woke Meryl, who had dozed off in front of her. Meryl commented on how soft Elsa's pillows were, annoying Natalie since it was her spot. Meryl asked about their plans, and Natalie reminded her they had already discussed them. Meryl blamed her forgetfulness on not having a diarium refill in 26 hours, claiming she hadn't heard clearly. Natalie patiently repeated that their mission was to defeat a pack of demon wolves that had migrated from the Dew territory. Reports from reconnaissance teams in nearby villages estimated about 100 demon wolves. Typically, a large force would handle such a threat, but due to limited manpower, Commander Elsa and Sage Meryl were tasked with the mission. Now clear on their objective, Elsa cautioned Meryl to stay vigilant until the mission was complete. Meryl casually responded that they should wrap it up fast so Daddy would praise her. Natalie announced that the demon wolves were in view, confirming their large numbers. Though individually ranked C in combatability, their pack mentality elevated them to a formidable A-rank threat. Natalie urged Elsa and Meryl to be careful. Elsa directed Natalie to protect their supplies while Meryl displayed her magic. Leading the charge, Elsa amazed Natalie and Meryl by effortlessly slaying dozens of demon wolves with one strike. Confident that the wolves couldn't overpower her in single combat, Elsa boldly challenged them to attack her all at once. Both Meryl and Natalie were stunned and impressed by Elsa's combat skill. Meryl noted that Elsa was showing off, admitting she had always admired Elsa's strength, which had grown even more since Kaiser arrived in the capital. Natalie remarked that, despite being a swordmaster, Elsa kept getting stronger. Meryl, not wanting to be left out, jumped into the fight, realizing there'd be no enemies left for her otherwise. Watching Meryl, Natalie realized this was Elsa's younger sister, Meryl Clyde. Known as a sage, Meryl's true power was unfamiliar to Natalie, who was eager to witness it. Natalie was astonished when she saw Meryl flying. Meryl thought the guild's desperation made sense. They needed her help, as she could end the threat quickly. She began attacking, and soon all the demon wolves were defeated. Natalie, surprised, asked if they were already finished, as only minutes had passed. Elsa called out to Meryl, expressing concern that she had taken too long to act after her first attack. Natalie reflected on the astonishing power she had just seen, marveling at how the Swordmaster and Sage, Elsa and Meryl, could complete a high-ranking mission, one that would typically require several elite adventurers, in mere minutes. Their abilities clearly set them apart from ordinary people. She also felt a growing distance between herself and Elsa. After gathering materials, they headed back home. At the house, Kaiser was reading at the table when Meryl and Elsa burst in. He greeted them warmly, relieved they were safe. Meryl eagerly hugged Kaiser, thrilled to see him. Kaiser asked Elsa if she was injured, but she reassured him they were unharmed. She explained that the demon wolves, though numerous, were only C rank and no challenge for them. Meryl boasted about her hard work, earning a pat and praise from Kaiser. Feeling shy, Elsa pointed out that she had worked hard too. Kaiser gently cupped her face, telling her he was proud of her efforts. Elsa beamed with joy and thanked him. For the next half hour, Kaiser continued to affectionately stroke their heads. Meanwhile, at the Centrum Magic Academy, Norvin Beckman arrived early and brewed a cup of coffee. And a late teacher, he had graduated top of his class 12 years ago, later served as a court magician, and became a teacher the previous year. His unmatched magical skill gave his life a glamorous sheen. As he walked down the hallway, he met Professor Iron Buller, a new teacher hired that year, a brilliant graduate with honors from the same academy. Irene's magical talent was impeccable, matched by her striking appearance. To Norvin, she was the ideal partner, and he longed to have her by his side. They greeted each other and walked together. Irene noted that Norvin's class grades had significantly improved. Other instructors were amazed at the improved grades, and Norvin smugly remarked that talented students paired with a skilled teacher naturally produced such results. Irene, however, noted that the students seemed to enjoy classes more since Kaiser, the protagonist, arrived, which annoyed Norvin. He swiftly changed the subject, inviting Irene to dinner at a new restaurant in the Noble District known for its fine wine, offering to share tips on becoming the top student at the Magic Academy. Irene politely declined, citing prior plans. Norvin insisted the invitation remained open, and Irene said she'd consider it if she had the chance. She then excused herself, as her class was in the opposite direction, and they parted ways. Norvin reflected that his once glorious life had been declining recently. Entering his classroom, he found Kaiser there. Since Kaiser's arrival, everything had gone wrong. Students thanked Kaiser for clarifying lessons from the previous day, finally understanding them with his help. One boy was thrilled to show his father the first spell Kaiser taught him, while a girl mastered stabilizing her water magic after Kaiser showed her the trick. Meryl also appeared cheerful daily. Norvin overheard this and fumed, thinking Kaiser, who hadn't taught a class since day one, had won the students' admiration by answering questions in his free time, stealing Norvin's dignity as a teacher. As Norvin began class by writing on the board, the students groaned, disappointed it was him again. They preferred Kaiser's fun, clear lessons. Meryl was, as usual, asleep. Hearing their complaints, Norvin's anger grew. Kaiser tried to soothe him, saying the students meant no harm, but Norvin snapped that their intentions weren't the problem. He challenged Kaiser to watch, vowing to prove his superiority. Later, students crowded around Kaiser, seeking help with parts of the lesson they didn't understand. Overwhelmed by questions, Kaiser said he couldn't answer all at once. Norvin, seeing his plan failing, offered to hear the students' concerns, but they declined, saying they didn't need him. They found him too strict and condescending. A female student agreed with her peers, noting that Norvin's explanations were hard to follow. The students turned to Kaiser, expressing gratitude for his joyful, clear teaching style. Norvin's anger intensified. Irene, who had been eavesdropping at the door, entered the room for her upcoming lesson. She remarked that Kaiser seemed very popular. Kaiser nodded, and in front of Norvin, Irene invited Kaiser to share a meal to discuss teaching as colleagues. Shocked, Norvin interrupted, questioning why Irene would waste time with a third-rate countryside magician like Kaiser, claiming she'd learned nothing. Irene sharply retorted that it would be better than listening to Norvin boast endlessly, pointing at him. The focus shifted back to Kaiser as the students asked his opinion. Kaiser suggested they could eat after he cooked dinner for his daughters. Irene said she looked forward to it. Norvin, now furious, challenged Kaiser to a duel, unable to tolerate everyone's admiration for Kaiser just because he was a decent teacher. Norvin believed it was time to prove who the superior magician was. Kaiser tried to defuse the situation, saying a fight was unnecessary and that being better didn't matter. Norvin, however, insisted the duel was essential to settle the matter. Reluctantly, Kaiser agreed, seeing no other option. Irene questioned why Kaiser hadn't accepted the duel outright, as it would clearly show who was superior. She believed accepting it would resolve these pointless conflicts. Meryl excitedly urged Kaiser to accept the duel, saying she hadn't seen his magic in a while and loved watching him use it. Hesitantly, Kaiser agreed, and they headed to the training grounds where the duel would take place. From a window, Marilyn noticed the students gathering and grew curious. She asked Irene why everyone was there, and Irene explained that Professor Norvin had challenged Kaiser to a duel. Marilyn, knowing Norvin's temperament, wasn't surprised, realizing this clash was inevitable. She decided to strengthen the barrier for safety. Norvin glared at Kaiser with fury, viewing him as a lowly third-rate magician who had stolen his students' trust, his potential partner, and his dignity. Norvin declared that Kaiser had gone too far and would now face the consequences, vowing to demonstrate the vast difference in their abilities. As the duel between Kaiser and Norvin was about to begin, the students watched eagerly, uncertain of the outcome. They knew Kaiser's teaching prowess but hadn't seen his magical skills. Irene commented that Kaiser would likely win easily, noting he had passed the exam. She asked Marilyn's opinion, but Marilyn seemed distracted. She recognized Kaiser's strength, recalling how he effortlessly destroyed a golem in his status as an A-class adventurer, a fearsome monster slayer. However, this time, his opponent was a human, Norvin, known for his unpredictability. Norvin taunted Kaiser, suggesting he must have enjoyed his brief moment of fame. Norvin was certain that once he showcased his superior power, Kaiser's reputation would crumble. He claimed that if they weren't fellow instructors, he would have hurted Kaiser, but for now, he'd settle for injuring him. Norvin bragged about graduating top of the academy and mastering 3 of the 5 major magics, proof of his status as a first-rate magician, unlike Kaiser, whom he scorned as a third-rate countryside mage. Norvin boasted that his countless battles and brutal experiences far surpassed Kaiser's, claiming his background was unmatched. Kaiser calmly responded that this wasn't an interview, so Norvin didn't need to brag about his life. Norvin snapped, calling Kaiser an impatient fool, but agreed to let his actions prove his worth. The duel began with Norvin casting a fireball, shocking Kaiser and the onlookers. Instead of a basic spell, he unleashed a Fire Lance, an advanced fire spell only first-class mages could master, capable of incapacitating anyone hit. To everyone's amazement, Kaiser withstood the attack, likely due to his transfer magic ability. Norvin had used the fireball as a decoy to launch a sneak attack from behind, but Kaiser's resilience unnerved him. Norvin, calling Kaiser a hillbilly, boasted that 20 magicians served at the royal castle, handling tasks like spying on foreign nations, covert operations, and eliminating threats. Known as court magicians, they were the elite of the capital's mages. Norvin proudly noted his decade-long tenure as one, fighting on the front lines while Kaiser was playing in the middle of nowhere, asserting their skills were worlds apart. He grudgingly acknowledged Kaiser surviving his first attack, but warned that luck wouldn't save him again. Norvin cast his spell, Accelera Kamechi, impressed by Kaiser's speed and reflexes. Kaiser reacted swiftly, proving he wasn't just a brute and had sharp perception. Norvin then tried a close combat feint to trick Kaiser, but Kaiser saw through it, avoiding hand-to-hand combat with someone he likened to a beast. Once again, Norvin appeared behind Kaiser, using a flash attack to temporarily blind him. Kaiser paused, surprised he'd fallen for Norvin's trap, but his reaction speed remained impressive despite his impaired vision. Kaiser stopped defending, seeming defeated, yet to Norvin's shock, he blocked the next attack. Confused, Norvin wondered how Kaiser could block while blinded, questioning if it was mere chance. In a desperate move, Norvin unleashed an omnidirectional fire lance, aiming to pierce Kaiser from all sides. To his shock, Kaiser effortlessly deflected every lance, as if he could see them. Norvin wondered if Kaiser had faked being affected by his flash attack, but Kaiser clarified that he was indeed blind yet far from helpless. Stunned, Norvin questioned how Kaiser blocked his spells. Kaiser explained he sensed the spell's paths by detecting subtle shifts in the air's magical flow, a new technique he found effective. Norvin admitted it must demand intense focus and challenged how long Kaiser could sustain it, launching another attack. Spectators were awestruck by Norvin's seamless use of high-level magic and Kaiser's ability to block attacks with his eyes closed, recognizing this as a top-tier battle. Meryl cheered loudly for her father, while Marilyn couldn't stop thinking about Kaiser's skill. Norvin taunted Kaiser for only defending, questioning why he didn't use offensive magic. Kaiser countered by asking if Norvin was done, noting that Norvin's mana was drained from repeatedly using Accelera and that his own vision was recovering, making Norvin's spells useless. Furious at failing to land a single hit, Norvin rejected Kaiser's offer to surrender, accusing Kaiser of belittling him. Reluctantly, Norvin decided to use a technique he had hoped to avoid. Before Kaiser could react, Norvin cast Trident, a secret family spell combining fire, wind, and lightning attributes, confident it would overwhelm Kaiser. To his astonishment, the spell had no effect. Kaiser urged Norvin to give up, but Norvin demanded to know how a third-rate magician like Kaiser could wield such power. Kaiser simply replied that his teacher had taught him many things. Norvin recognized the name of Kaiser's teacher, Rura, the most powerful magician in the capital's history, and the legendary Great Sage Ro, notorious for rejecting apprentices due to their lack of talent. Norvin realized Kaiser was claiming to have trained under her. Suddenly, Meryl rushed to Kaiser, hugging him and praising his incredible duel performance. Kaiser modestly said the duel wasn't over yet. Curious, Meryl asked why he had gone easy on Norvin, believing Kaiser could have won with one strike. Norvin overheard, intrigued by Kaiser's reply. Kaiser clarified that he wasn't holding back but chose not to attack Norvin directly with magic, instead blocking all his spells until Norvin's mana was depleted. Norvin was stunned, realizing Kaiser's restraint was deliberate, not a lack of ability. Irene approached Kaiser, praising his performance and saying she expected nothing less than a total victory, admiring his magical display. Kaiser insisted the duel wasn't finished because Norvin hadn't conceded. Norvin snapped that Kaiser was correct. It wasn't over. However, Director Marilyn stepped in, declaring the duel had gone far enough. She reminded Norvin he was at his limit, unable to cast even a basic fireball, and urged him not to overexert himself. Reluctantly, Norvin admitted defeat, acknowledging the vast gap in their magical skills and recognizing Kaiser as the superior magician. Marilyn then turned to the students, noting they had skipped classes to watch the duel and would need to visit her office after school for punishment. As part of this punishment, Marilyn, the academy's director, invited the professors to a bar for a drinking party. The professors were surprised by this unusual penalty, but agreed to join, though the gathering was quieter than expected for a drinking party. Marilyn urged the professors to liven up the drinking party with more noise, but Irene questioned why they were drinking when they were supposedly there for punishment. Marilyn, sipping her beer, explained that a bar was a better setting for such discussions than a stuffy office. Irene was quietly disappointed, having hoped to spend the evening alone with Kaiser. Marilyn, getting to the point, announced the punishments. Norvin's penalty was a 2-month salary cut, and Kaiser would temporarily take over teaching their class sessions. Norvin accepted the director's decision without protest. Irene then asked about her punishment. Marilyn declared that Irene's penalty was to wear more revealing clothing to showcase her curvaceous figure. Irene flushed with embarrassment at the comment, but Marilyn continued teasing, pointing out that Irene seemed smitten with Kaiser. Irene denied it, her face reddening, and insisted that while Kaiser was tall, handsome, family-oriented, a skilled teacher, a powerful magician, and a brilliant person, she wasn't in love with him. However, her description only made it sound like she was already enamored. Marilyn playfully asked Kaiser if he was unmarried despite having children and suggested he marry Irene. Kaiser, caught off guard, declined the idea. Marilyn teased that Irene might be too rule-bound, then sneaked behind her and grabbed her chest, commenting on her striking beauty, well-defined body, and suitability for childbearing. Irene, flustered, demanded Marilyn stop, but Marilyn ignored her, musing about Irene's cup size and lamenting how she hid her blessings. Irene pushed Marilyn away, accusing her of bothering and threatening legal action at their next meeting, though Marilyn remained unfazed by the rebuke. Marilyn smugly countered that, as director of the kingdom's Magic Academy, she could easily pull strings to win any lawsuit, leaving Irene unable to respond. Irene shifted the topic, asking Marilyn about her own marriage plans, given her age. Their playful argument continued, sidelining the men. Kaiser glanced at Norvin, who was calmly drinking his beer, and asked how he felt about the harsh punishment. Norvin admitted it was fair, acknowledging his mistake and challenging Kaiser to a duel and losing. He had no grounds to protest Kaiser teaching the classes, but warned he wouldn't just observe passively. He planned to scrutinize Kaiser's lessons, searching for flaws to prove his superiority. Kaiser, accustomed to Norvin's attitude, let it slide. To keep the conversation going, Norvin asked why Kaiser didn't simplify his lessons instead of creating complex ones. Kaiser explained it was partly for his daughter, but mainly due to his master Etra, who taught him not just magic, but the essence of being a mage. He said magic, passed down through generations, required mages to dedicate their lives to it and continue its legacy. Kaiser shared that he aimed to pass Etra's magic to Meryl and his students, not to be the greatest magician, but to teach children to become skilled mages who create helpful magical devices. He felt he had succeeded in this. Norvin, understanding Kaiser's intent to use inherited magic for the people's benefit, began to view him more favorably. Before they could continue, Marilyn, now drunk, yelled at Kaiser for not drinking his beer. She threw her arm around his neck and slurred, asking if Irene was his type, suggesting he could easily win her over. Kaiser called Irene a wonderful woman, causing her to stammer in flattery. He added that with 3 daughters already, adding a child with Irene might complicate things. Marilyn teased that Kaiser hadn't even confessed, yet Irene was already imagining their child. Overwhelmed with embarrassment, Irene grabbed Marilyn's beer and chugged it in one go. Irene, desperate to erase her embarrassing comment, demanded more beer. Marilyn, seeing Irene drink heavily, urged her to slow down, but Irene ignored her. Norvin, caught up in the moment, slammed his hand on the table and shouted that inexperienced girls were the best, triggering a reaction from Marilyn. He continued, claiming all men preferred virgins and that women who lost their virginity before marriage should be imprisoned. Marilyn laughed at his outburst, but Irene was repulsed. Embarrassed by her reaction, Norvin chugged his beer, and the group grew louder and drunker with each round. Eventually, Kaiser helped Norvin home, as he was too intoxicated to walk. Norvin felt guilty for making Irene see him as a bad teacher, but Kaiser reassured him that he was a skilled magician with many chances to redeem himself. Despite Norvin's earlier sarcasm, Kaiser remained kind, understanding their different backgrounds. He noted that as teachers at the same academy, they should support each other. Touched by Kaiser's compassion, Norvin's view of him shifted completely. The next day, Kaiser taught his scheduled class while Norvin observed, part of his punishment. Kaiser patiently showed the students how to create magic circles, explaining in a clear, simple way. As the students practiced, Kaiser noticed Meryl was absent. Certain they had come to school together, he found it odd, as she'd typically be sleeping at her desk. He decided to check her loud during recess. His thoughts were cut short when Irene greeted him. Irene mentioned hearing rumors that Kaiser's lectures were easy to follow and agreed they were true. Kaiser thanked her for the compliment, admitting he felt nervous teaching. As they spoke like fellow teachers, they noticed Norvin acting strangely, which unsettled Kaiser. Irene explained Norvin had been like that for a while, closely studying Kaiser's teaching methods. Shyly, Irene started to invite Kaiser to dinner, but was interrupted when Meryl burst into the room. Meryl rushed to Kaiser, explaining she'd been in her lab, where she finally completed her research and was ready to present it. The students cheered, and Kaiser praised his brilliant daughter. Meryl announced she'd been working on her magnum opus, her lifelong dream, earning loud support from the students and impressing Kaiser. As her father, he felt proud knowing his daughter had grown into someone revolutionizing technology in the royal capital, wondering if his master would be pleased. The students were thrilled to witness another historic moment, exciting Meryl further. She needed a magic solution to activate her invention, and Kaiser pointed to a spare near the podium. As Meryl approached, she tripped, shattering the beaker containing her magnum opus. The class and Meryl panicked, scrambling to save it, but a small amount of the liquid triggered a magic circle. Smoke filled the room, and suddenly, everyone inside felt infatuated with Kaiser. Confused, Kaiser listened as Meryl explained that the smoke caused them to fall for him. Her invention, meant to make Kaiser fall deeply in love with her, had backfired spectacularly. Amid the chaos, Irene threw herself at Kaiser, causing them to tumble to the floor. Overcome, she confessed she couldn't stop thinking about him and pleaded for his affection. Kaiser gently refused Irene's advances, but as she grew more aggressive, he stunned her harmlessly, knocking her out. He noticed a mana mark on her chest and tried to wipe it off, but it wouldn't budge. Norvin startled him, ranting loudly that those with kindred spirits should share a mental and physical connection. His own mana mark visible on his face. Annoyed by Norvin's bizarre outburst, Kaiser struck him once, rendering him unconscious. Kaiser grabbed Meryl and carried her out of the room to safety. Once secure, Meryl admitted she hadn't anticipated the mishap. Kaiser asked why the aphrodisiac didn't affect her, and she explained she had a mana mark on her stamina. When this didn't clarify things, she added that her love for Kaiser was already so strong that no aphrodisiac could intensify it. Elsa, spotting Kaiser with Meryl, was surprised and scolded them for being overly affectionate in public. Anna defended them, saying linking arms was harmless, especially on a day meant for relaxing, and urged Elsa to join in by taking Kaiser's other arm. Hesitant but swayed by Anna's teasing, Elsa linked arms with Kaiser, admitting it reminded her of childhood and felt comforting. Meryl soon complained of hunger, prompting them to search for a restaurant. Anna suggested her favorite cafe, a 15-minute walk away. They reached the aristocratic district, lined with upscale shops, when a scream and explosion erupted from a store. A thief, caught robbing it, assumed he could escape easily, believing no guards or alarms were nearby, unaware of a powerful adventurer and mage close by. Kaiser and Elsa immediately pursued the thief. As Elsa closed in, the thief threw a knife at a civilian child. Kaiser swiftly caught it, but the distraction allowed the thief to escape. Elsa felt guilty for letting the thief escape, but Anna used Meryl's device, functioning like a phone, to inform them that Meryl had placed a tracker on the thief. Anna guided Elsa and Kaiser, furious that the thief ruined their perfect day. With her help, they cornered the thief in a deserted alley. Kaiser warned the thief that he couldn't hide, but the thief, unfazed, boasted that his gang would defeat them, claiming Elsa and Kaiser were the ones trapped. Elsa, however, was grateful they were all in one place, saving her the trouble of hunting them down. The gang, underestimating Elsa, mocked her as weak and made crude remarks about having fun with her later. Offended, Elsa snapped and, in an instant, knocked them all to the ground. She made it clear to their leader that she was far stronger than their combined might. After securing a sincere apology from the thief, Elsa tied them up for the guards to arrest. Meryl and Anna arrived just in time, noticing Elsa's dress was torn. Elsa apologized for ruining the dress Kaiser had bought, but he reassured her they could get a new one on their next day off, promising to join her. Relieved, Elsa blushed. Anna and Meryl said they'd clear their schedules for another family outing. Meanwhile, in a palace, a lonely girl prepared for bed, bored from her uneventful day and wishing for something exciting before sleeping. The next day, life returned to normal. Kaiser went to the battlefield to train the knights, who greeted him with enthusiasm. Training began immediately, but Kaiser noticed Elsa's absence. Assuming she was on a mission, he asked Natalie, who revealed Elsa had been summoned by the royal family and left upon arrival. Unsure of the reason, Kaiser didn't press further and focused on training. He paired the knights for duels, observing they were growing stronger than other armies. As the knights' instructor, Kaiser knew he needed to grow stronger himself. Reflecting on his duel with Norvin, he recalled the Accelera spell that granted speed too fast for the naked eye. He wondered if he used it earlier, he might have saved a village. Trying the spell, he crashed into the field's wall, creating a massive hole. The knights, especially Natalie, were stunned. Emerging, Kaiser brushed it off as a trip, realizing the spell's speed was no joke, though he lacked control. After training, Kaiser visited the Adventurers Guild to see if Anna had tasks for him. There, Monica pestered him about Anna's weaknesses, calling her unfairly perfect, beautiful, intelligent, attentive, and the youngest guild master ever, with a hot dad to boot. Monica recounted a recent mistake she made, which Anna scolded her for, fueling her desire to exploit Anna's flaws. Persistent, Monica forced Kaiser to share a childhood story about Anna, but the text cuts off before he does. Meanwhile, Prim, a character mentioned earlier, argued she couldn't leave yet, having much to do, but agreed to let Elsa escort her home. Prim thanked Kaiser for saving her and expressed a desire to meet again soon. Anna revealed she previously met Prim, the king's only child and future ruler, when trying to teach her governance. She described Prim as a selfish, troublemaking tomboy. Elsa informed Kaiser that Prim had summoned her to the castle and insisted on meeting him tomorrow, throwing a tantrum when told he was busy. This gave Elsa a hard time, so she respectfully asked Kaiser to appear at the castle. Kaiser agreed to visit the castle, unable to refuse a royal decree and motivated by Elsa's request. The next day he arrived and was met by weary knights who thanked him for coming, explaining that Princess Prim had been relentless. Wasting no time, Kaiser attended an audience with Prim and Queen Sonia Wagenstein. Seeing Prim beside the esteemed queen, Kaiser assumed she was the princess. The queen commended Elsa for securing Kaiser's presence and noted that Prim had spoken highly of him. Jokingly, she remarked that Prim must have been a handful the previous day. She then ordered a soldier to present Kaiser with a stack of money as repayment for an apple he covered for Prim. Overwhelmed by the amount, Kaiser insisted he only wanted the cost of the apple, but the queen pressed him to accept it for saving her daughter. She subtly warned that rejecting the king's generosity was frowned upon, leaving Kaiser little choice. He accepted but donated the money to charity. The queen's demeanor softened, urging Kaiser to relax and feel at home, though he felt her warmth came a bit late. She praised his kindness for giving away the money, suggesting Elsa inherited her sincerity from him. Prim interrupted, reminding her mother to focus on the purpose of Kaiser's summons. The queen explained that Prim had something to say. Excitedly, Prim declared she wanted Kaiser to be her property. Confused, Kaiser listened as Prim clarified that she liked him and, as someone who always got what she wanted, decided he should belong to her. Still puzzled, Kaiser turned to the queen, who clarified that Prim admired him and wished to spend more time with him, proposing that Kaiser become her tutor. Taking care of Prim wouldn't be free, and the queen wanted Kaiser to see it as a job. While talking with her daughter, the queen shared that she had been too busy since the king's death 5 years ago to spend time with Prim. She wanted Prim to explore the real world and trusted only Kaiser to watch over her. Kaiser thought it over, picturing Prim feeling lonely after the king's death. As a father, he couldn't bear the thought of his own daughter's sadness if he died. He also figured Prim's spoiled behavior came from trauma and loneliness. Kaiser agreed to help, earning bright smiles from both Prim and the queen. The queen expressed her gratitude as they discussed dates and terms. After the meeting, Elsa walked Kaiser out of the castle, apologizing for adding to his workload. Kaiser brushed it off, saying that as a knight's instructor, adventurer, academy lecturer, and now the princess's tutor, he was thankful for the opportunities. Beyond that, Kaiser was committed to guiding Prim well. He knew he couldn't replace the king in her heart, but hoped Prim would enjoy herself. Hearing this, Elsa blushed, recognizing her father's kindness. When the day arrived, NC told the queen he'd return to the castle for Prim. As the queen prepared for her duties, she informed Luna Belfast, the royal head, that Kaiser would start tutoring Prim that day. She tasked Luna with showing Kaiser around the castle and sharing key responsibilities. Later, Kaiser knocked on Prim's door and entered, greeted by Luna. He sat near her as Luna introduced herself as Prim's attendant. She explained that despite Kaiser's role as Prim's instructor, he didn't need to do anything since she handled Prim's education, making Kaiser's involvement unnecessary. Kaiser sensed Luna viewed him as a rival, so he apologized for being there, clarifying he meant no harm. Kaiser explained to Luna that he couldn't just stay without contributing. Luna insisted he was still unnecessary, refusing to let him near the princess. When Kaiser asked why she was so firm, Luna declared that Prim was the world's cutest, like an angel, and she couldn't let anyone taint her. To calm things down, Kaiser assured Luna he was only there to play with Prim, not teach anything strange. Luna, however, labeled men as vile, sleazy, and vicious, assuming Kaiser wanted to corrupt the princess. Soon, Prim woke up, joined by Elsa, and was thrilled to see Kaiser eager to play with him. Luna stopped her, wanting to teach Prim mathematics, but Prim refused. Kaiser and Elsa watched, with Elsa noting this was typical. Luna was persistent in teaching Prim royal ways, but hadn't succeeded due to Prim's rebelliousness, which piqued Kaiser's interest. Eventually, Luna relented, letting Prim do what she wanted, except play with Kaiser. Luna insisted Prim could be entertained without him. They moved to the castle hall for an event with entertainers like magicians and knights ready to amuse Prim. Kaiser told Luna she didn't need to go to such lengths, but Luna explained that Prim had seemed bored lately, so she hoped a grand performance would motivate her to study and prove Kaiser wasn't needed. Kaiser let Luna proceed. Luna summoned the performers, promising a reward for anyone who could make Prim smile. A knight, Bon Rosak, went first, performing a party trick of naked dancing, juggling plates to hide his private parts. Prim found it silly and stayed bored. Bon Rosak took it personally, sulking in a corner as a gloomy figure who failed to entertain. Next, the great magician Meryl stepped up, confident she could wow Prim with her best trick. Meryl performed her famous Gaia creation trick, a stunning display from her street shows, but Prim remained uninterested. Meryl was deeply hurt, as her secret technique usually captivated other children, yet Prim insisted she wasn't a child. Devastated, Meryl sought comfort from Kaiser, hugging him. Luna urged the performers to continue, but Prim stayed bored, unaffected by even the most lively and engaging acts. Luna grew anxious, fearing Prim would have to play with Kaiser, whom she still suspected of sinister intentions, imagining him as an evil sorcerer. The final performer stepped up, eager to claim the prize, but he stumbled backward, breaking his magic tamer staff. This caused a magical beast to go wild, unleashing chaos in the hall. Kaiser, Elsa, and Meryl teamed up to control the beasts. Elsa swiftly knocked out a terrifying bear, while Meryl used magic to restrain a lion and attempted to tie down a massive elephant. The elephant broke free and charged toward Prim and Luna. Luna was terrified, but Kaiser stopped the elephant with one hand, using a commanding voice to calm it, making it sit on his order. The crowd was amazed by Kaiser's feat. Elsa and Meryl checked on him, and Kaiser reassured Elsa, noting Meryl had handled the bulls. Luna bowed to Kaiser, thanking him for protecting Prim, admitting she'd be in trouble if anything happened to the princess. Kaiser told Luna to lift her head, explaining it was an accident, not her fault. Still, Luna felt responsible for calling the performers, which put Prim at risk, and expressed gratitude to Kaiser. Kaiser, relieved, suggested Luna let him handle entertaining Prim next. After the chaotic morning, Kaiser took everyone outside to the Adventurers Guild. Prim was thrilled to be there, aware that the guild was filled with rough and rowdy people. Luna was unsure why they were at the Adventurers Guild, but Kaiser promised it would make sense soon. Moments later, Anna arrived and greeted Prim, surprised to see the princess under Kaiser's care. Anna, with her bold attitude, intimidated Prim with a stern look, warning that the guild wasn't a place for someone delicate. Shaking, Prim explained that Kaiser brought her there. Kaiser clarified to Anna that they were there for a mission, an E-rank dog hunt where Prim had to find a missing dog. Prim thought the mission was trivial, but Kaiser disagreed, explaining it involved locating a stray dog and returning it to the guild to complete the task. Though hesitant, Prim's eyes lit up with excitement when Kaiser described the challenge of finding one dog in the vast royal capital. Anna handed Kaiser a sketch of the dog, noting it was last seen in the residential area, and while commissioning missions to others wasn't allowed, she'd make an exception. They headed to the residential area, with Prim eager to start. Luna grasped the mission but doubted Prim would find the dog quickly, fearing she'd grow bored and frustrated. Kaiser acknowledged her concern but assured her there was no need to worry. Prim searched tirelessly but grew exhausted, complaining about the capital's size. Elsa suggested a break, and as Prim agreed, she spotted the dog in her peripheral vision. Elsa moved to chase it, but Kaiser stopped her, reminding her it was Prim's mission. Reinvigorated, Prim chased the dog alone, but it was too fast, leaving her breathless. Luna told Kaiser he should help, and while he agreed, Prim snapped that she didn't need assistance, refusing to be mocked and determined to catch it herself. Kaiser smiled at her fierce spirit, but Prim's stomach growled, signaling hunger. Kaiser suggested they eat, and Prim devoured her meal before resuming the chase. Both she and the dog grew exhausted, and Prim kept losing it, especially as the dog now recognized her after a day of pursuit. Luna asked if Prim wanted to stop, but Prim stubbornly refused, her determination unwavering. With time running out, she analyzed the dog's walking pattern and noticed a mother and son nearby discussing what to eat for dinner. Prim's observation sparked an idea to catch the dog. They followed her plan, waiting as the dog roamed the area, searching for Prim. Not finding her, the dog assumed it had won. Hungry, it sniffed a tempting steak near an alley dumpster, unaware it was a trap. Prim pounced, collared the dog, and completed the mission. Kaiser praised her cleverness, and Prim, proud as the country's princess, agreed. Luna was amazed to see Prim so joyful. Kaiser explained his goal, to give Prim, who grew up sheltered in a castle, a new experience. The dog hunt taught her to identify her shortcomings when facing obstacles, learn through trial and error, and grow from it. Kaiser emphasized the importance of being proactive, not dependent on others, confident Prim would continue to develop. His words moved Luna, who retracted her earlier doubts about Kaiser, believing Prim would thrive under his guidance. Kaiser disagreed, noting Luna's efforts would benefit Prim if she focused on what Prim truly wanted. They continued talking, encouraging each other to support Prim's growth. Prim was ready to head home, but Luna had other plans since they were in the residential district. Later, after Anna returned home, she noticed unfamiliar shoes at the entrance and asked her father, Kaiser, if someone was there. Kaiser explained that Prim and Luna were in the bath. While preparing dinner, Kaiser realized they were short on chairs and went to fetch more. On his way, he accidentally saw Prim, undressed and fresh from the bath, causing him to panic and freeze. Then Luna emerged, also undressed, making the situation even more awkward as Kaiser stood rooted in embarrassment. Eventually, they gathered in the dining room to eat Kaiser's meal. Prim loved the food, while Luna ate aggressively. Anna noticed the tension and asked Kaiser if he and Luna were on bad terms, putting him on the spot. The scene shifted to a story about a fearsome demon king who sought to conquer the world, driving humanity to the brink. A mighty hero, skilled in sword and magic, emerged with companions to defeat the demon king's army. They stormed the demon king's castle, and after a fierce 3-day, 3-night battle, the hero struck the demon king's heart. The hero married the princess, founded a peaceful kingdom free of evil, and they lived happily ever after. The storybook closed, and Prim beamed, delighted to hear the hero's legend again. Prim shared that her father used to read to her, just like Kaiser did. She was surprised Luna allowed her to stay overnight at Kaiser's, as Luna typically denied her wishes, repeating, "No, princess, that can't be done," like a broken record. Prim guessed Luna was in a good mood after eating Kaiser's food, unaware of their earlier awkward encounter. After dinner, Luna returned to the palace, letting Prim stay because she was likely tired. Prim's safety was assured with the sword master and sage living there, but Luna warned Kaiser not to harm the princess. Later, Prim reminisced about sleeping beside her father daily as he read her the same book Kaiser had. When Kaiser asked about King Sodom, Prim beamed, calling her father cool. She recounted how he saved her mother from notorious bandits who attacked her, and after marrying, they enacted policies prioritizing people's happiness. Kaiser wished he'd met the king sooner. Prim then asked about Kaiser's father. Hesitant at first, Kaiser shared that his father was a swordsmanship instructor. When Kaiser was young, monsters attacked their village, hurting both his parents. Prim apologized for stirring painful memories, but Kaiser reassured her he'd moved on. Prim asked if he felt lonely, noting she still had her mother while he'd lost both parents. Kaiser recalled feeling more powerless than lonely as a child, unable to act. He explained that he became an adventurer and trained hard to never lose anything again, though he admitted to occasional loneliness. Prim admired Kaiser's strength, confessing she hadn't recovered from her father's death and wasted her days doing nothing. She felt pressured to become a respectable adult like her parents, but as a child who lost her father, hadn't achieved anything and loathed herself for it. She admitted to rebelling when people tried to cheer her up, unable to meet expectations as the future queen. Tears fell as she told Kaiser she feared growing up this way and worried her father would be disappointed. Before Prim could collapse in despair, Kaiser reassured her she'd grown into a beautiful, healthy girl. Surprised, Prim listened as Kaiser, drawing from raising 3 daughters, explained that parents care most about their children's health and safety, not perfection. He told her she didn't need to hate herself, as children shouldn't fear their parents' judgment. Kaiser added that she had many supporters, including himself, around her. Prim, eyes closing, promised to do anything to help Kaiser and thanked him for the fun day as he turned off the lights. The next morning, Luna served tea to the queen, who asked about Prim's recent behavior. Luna shared that Prim had been well-behaved and hardworking since morning, showing determination to become a great ruler. She noted Prim's transformation since Kaiser's arrival. The queen was pleased with her decision to entrust Prim to Kaiser, and Luna wholeheartedly agreed. Meanwhile, in a lively bar filled with rowdy adventurers, a cloaked woman overheard a conversation. A drunken patron praised the royal capital's sword master and sage for another major achievement, while his friend lauded their daughter's brilliant mind. Another read a newspaper about the genius lady's feats, mentioning a monstrous adventurer, the father of the Clyde's family, who recently arrived in the capital. The surname Clyde's piqued the cloaked woman's interest, and when Kaiser's name came up, she grew more curious. She approached the men, asking to join their conversation. Later, Kaiser was on an adventure mission in a forest, battling a golem. It took longer than expected, and he wondered if age was slowing him down, recalling how his younger self would have defeated it faster. He dismissed the thought, remembering his youth driven by a relentless pursuit of strength, achieving A-rank status early. Now, with daughters to care for, that urgency had faded, though he still denied aging. After completing the mission, Kaiser returned to the guild center, where Monica was eating a sandwich. She asked if he forgot something, but Kaiser said he was there to submit the golem's core as proof of his mission. Monica, skeptical, couldn't believe Kaiser completed a B-rank mission so easily and accused him of fraud, jokingly calling herself Detective Monica and questioning if he bought the core from a merchant. Kaiser argued he'd be caught for false reports. Anna appeared, defending her father, explaining he had an academy class and wouldn't let a simple task drag on. Monica accused Kaiser of using a teleportation door, but Anna countered that Kaiser was just exceptionally strong, having been an A-rank adventurer at 16. Monica, hearing this for the first time, was stunned to learn Kaiser was a child prodigy. She scolded him for not sharing, and Kaiser replied it'd be odd to boast about his youth, feeling like an old man reminiscing about heroic days. As Kaiser and Monica continued talking, he wondered why she hadn't heard about his past feat of wiping out an entire village, realizing most people in the capital were unaware of his history. Anna, noticing a pile of last week's paperwork, scolded Monica for slacking. Their chat seemed endless, but Kaiser excused himself to teach at the academy. Before leaving, Anna mentioned a mysterious woman had visited the guild earlier, looking for Kaiser while he was on his mission. Anna didn't recognize her but noted her dangerous aura, describing how she brandished a sword as tall as herself at the receptionist, demanding information about Kaiser. Though reluctant to alarm him, Anna warned Kaiser to be cautious, sensing trouble. Kaiser pondered the sword's description, recalling someone vaguely but dismissing it. At the academy, Kaiser met Marilyn and other professors in her office. Marilyn sternly warned Kaiser not to touch the students, leaving him flustered as he hadn't done anything wrong. Irene defended Kaiser, calling him honest and kind, a role model students admired. Marilyn teased Irene, suggesting she was smitten with Kaiser, sparking a playful argument. Norvin interrupted, asking Kaiser about Meryl's absence. Kaiser assured him Meryl was at school but skipping class to work on a new spell. Norvin, intrigued, praised Meryl's genius and asked about the spell. Kaiser hesitantly revealed Meryl was researching immortality, shocking everyone. Immortality was a forbidden spell, unachieved by past wizards, and success could spark chaos and wars. Marilyn found it fascinating, but Kaiser cautioned that Meryl's research didn't guarantee success, though he privately believed her relentless drive would lead her to complete it, as she always pursued her goals despite others' objections. He vowed to protect her if anyone attacked. Suddenly, Marilyn sensed a breach in the school's magic barrier, which she had set to detect unauthorized entrance. Irene wondered if it was a lost child or stray animal, but breaching the barrier indicated a skilled intruder with ill intent. Marilyn ordered Irene to evacuate the students while she, Kaiser, and Norvin searched for the intruder. As they set out, Kaiser asked if Marilyn could pinpoint the intruder's location. She admitted her barrier couldn't track positions and suggested splitting up to cover more ground, first distributing communication devices Merrill had made to keep them connected. Kaiser dashed through the sprawling academy, searching for the intruder while pondering their motives. The academy's vast collection of magical research and papers could be a target. He also considered who the intruder might be, a hired combatant, a foreign looter, or perhaps the dangerous woman Anna described. Suddenly, the communication device buzzed, and Norvin reported spotting the intruder, urging them to follow the trail. Marilyn promised to join, but Norvin, eager to impress Irene and prove his prowess, attacked the intruder alone. His arrogance backfired, leaving him half dead. Marilyn revived him by covering his nostrils, startling him awake. Ashamed of his recklessness, Norvin admitted he couldn't identify the intruder, who used illusion magic to hide in fog and wore a hooded cloak. He noted they were heading toward the special education building, likely targeting a lab. Hearing lab, Kaiser raced to Meryl's, finding it in disarray with a liquid on her desk. Panicking, he shook Meryl, only to find her asleep, relieving him immensely. Waking her, he warned of the intruder. Meryl recalled someone attacking her lab earlier, whom she repelled. Kaiser wondered if the desk's stain was the intruder's liquid, but Meryl clarified it was a spilled magic solution from the fight. As Kaiser brainstormed ways to trap the intruder, Marilyn interrupted, sensing the barrier breaking from within, suggesting the intruder had escaped. Since they came from Meryl's lab, they deduced the target was her research, putting Meryl in ongoing danger. Marilyn, with a grave tone, said they couldn't retaliate without knowing the intruder's identity, so they must reinforce barriers and defenses. Kaiser asked Meryl if she saw the intruder's appearance, recalling Norvin's mention of a disguise. Meryl, unbothered, said she could see through illusion magic, but oddly couldn't recall the intruder's face. She admitted she was too focused on protecting her research to notice, frustrating everyone. Meryl shrugged, saying her mind was consumed by daddy and magic, caring for little else. Kaiser, exasperated, could do nothing about it. Meanwhile, in the capital, Elsa, the night captain, patrolled the streets. She believed night patrols deterred crime and reassured citizens. Interacting with happy residents, she rarely encountered trouble and dreamed a worry-free royal capital. Ironically, someone nearby was about to stir up chaos. A cloaked woman approached Elsa, confirming she was the knight commander and mentioning she'd heard Elsa was Kaiser's daughter. Elsa acknowledged this but was puzzled about her father's involvement. The woman, drawing her sword unexpectedly, challenged Elsa to do the same, provoking her despite Elsa's reluctance to fight. The woman lunged, but the scene shifted to Kaiser dueling Natalie, who, as usual, lost and threw a tantrum, frustrated at her inability to land a hit and daydreaming about Elsa admiring her. Kaiser praised Natalie's talent and persistence, predicting her growth, but Natalie snapped, feeling belittled, saying equals don't praise talent. Kaiser explained that in sword fighting, viewing opponents as equals is irrelevant. One must unite with their sword, face themselves, and protect others. He stressed that knighthood isn't about winning or losing, but about growing stronger to save lives. Admitting he saw everyone in the squad, including Natalie, as novices compared to him, Kaiser still encouraged her to improve and offered to answer any questions. Natalie, confirming she could ask anything, shamelessly inquired about Elsa's volleyball, asking when they got so large, claiming no one in the capital rivaled her. Kaiser, flustered by the inappropriate question, redirected her to ask only serious sword-related queries. Natalie then asked about sword-handling concerns, pleasing Kaiser, but a yell interrupted them. Elsa appeared, bruised and injured. Alarmed, Kaiser asked what happened. Elsa recounted how a passerby suddenly attacked her with a sword, leading to a fight. Kaiser, shocked she was hurt, asked if she won, but Elsa admitted she lost after a fair exchange of blows. Nearby knights were stunned their commander was defeated, but Kaiser, relieved she was alive, grew concerned when Elsa revealed her opponent spared her life after breaking her sword and left a message for Kaiser to tell him everything that happened. Elsa asked if Kaiser knew anything, but he couldn't respond, instead carrying her to treat her wounds, promising to explain later. He suspected the attacker might be the same woman who visited Anna at the guild and Meryl at the academy, forming a hunch about her identity but deciding a meeting was needed. Returning to the fight scene, visible damage underscored Elsa's worry that Kaiser was the true target. She praised her opponent as the most skilled sword wielder she'd met in the royal capital, leaving Kaiser unable to fathom someone surpassing Elsa's combat prowess. He asked if she saw the woman's appearance. Elsa described her attacker, a woman with crimson hair, wielding a sword as tall as herself, exuding a dangerous aura. Kaiser, deep in thought, recognized the description, worrying Elsa. She asked if the woman was hostile toward him. Kaiser admitted she might be, revealing that long ago, when he was a young adventurer, he partied with a red-haired swordswoman who carried a long single-edged sword. Elsa was confused about why his former companion attacked her, but Kaiser wasn't certain it was her. Moments later, he sensed danger and dodged an attack from behind, saving Elsa, who was caught off guard. The cloaked woman mocked, saying Kaiser's ability to sense subtle changes in the air was expected. Facing her, Kaiser asked what would have happened if he hadn't dodged. She snorted, saying a failure to dodge would have meant a hole in his chest and his death, implying he'd be unworthy of her time. Her familiarity with Kaiser's past confirmed to him that she was Regina, an old companion. Kaiser noted she hadn't seen her in years, complimenting her unchanged beauty, though her sharp tongue remained unchanged since she was 14. They caught up, but to outsiders it didn't seem like a friendly reunion. Regina declared she'd wield her sword until her death, unlike Kaiser, who left the royal capital casually. Kaiser stayed calm, asking why she attacked Elsa, warning he might act depending on her answer. Regina refused to explain, drawing her sword for a fight instead, challenging Kaiser to prove his strength to earn answers. She dismissed him as weaker, refusing to listen. Elsa struggled to believe her father would fight, not doubting his skill but wary of Regina's unknown abilities. Kaiser, disappointed to be clashing with an old friend so soon, had hoped for a calm talk over tea, but Regina valued swords over words. Knowing a duel was inevitable, Kaiser suggested moving from the city center. Elsa proposed the drill ground, but Kaiser warned it couldn't contain their battle, which could harm bystanders. Regina, surprised at his caution, teased that the old, hot-liquided Kaiser would have fought instantly, joking he didn't want to wreck his daughter's workplace. Kaiser called it maturity. They relocated outside the capital for the duel. Elsa summoned Meryl for magical first aid and brought Natalie to observe. Natalie asked if the fight would be spectacular, and Elsa declared it would be the greatest sword fight in the world. Kaiser and Regina faced off, with Kaiser suggesting safer measures like wooden swords, but Regina, in a frenzied state, insisted on real blades for a true fight, highlighting their contrasting mindsets, his maturity against her recklessness. As the duel began, Kaiser stayed defensive, parrying Regina's fierce attacks. Natalie watched in awe, but Meryl, unable to track their speed, asked Elsa who was winning, wondering if Kaiser was dominating. Natalie also struggled to follow, while Elsa, analyzing intently, saw Kaiser entirely on the defensive, blocking a barrage of strikes. She feared he'd lose without going on the offensive. Regina, noticing Kaiser's distance, taunted him, disappointed that the child prodigy, once a sword master and sage, an unparalleled young genius, was now passive. She mocked him, suggesting he'd become a peace-loving fool, urging him to use magic in a no-holds-barred fight. Kaiser refused magic, praising Regina as a formidable swordswoman, unchanged in her prowess, and vowed to defeat her as a swordsman head-on. Regina recognized Kaiser's familiar stance, knowing he used a signature technique after 18 years, and aimed to prove his decline. They clashed, but Regina countered his move, catching Kaiser off guard, and unleashed a devastating earth-shattering attack. Kaiser, bleeding heavily, stood firm despite his injuries. Regina gloated, pointing out her sharpened skills against his blunt sword, which barely blocked her strikes, questioning what he'd done for 18 years besides babysitting. Elsa, Natalie, and Meryl, watching from the valley, were stunned by the attack's ferocity, fearing for Kaiser's safety. The strike left a mark on both Kaiser and the onlookers. Elsa recalled her own fight with Regina, noting the similarity in her devastating slashes. Natalie worried about a grim outcome, but Meryl and Elsa remained calm, trusting Kaiser deeply. Elsa suspected Regina was prolonging the fight, possibly waiting for something. As the duel continued, Regina kept provoking the stoic Kaiser, asking why he sought strength and for what purpose. Kaiser replied it was to raise his daughters happily, but Regina scoffed, claiming the prodigy from 18 years ago wouldn't accept such a tame goal. She landed another powerful blow, sending Kaiser flying. In that moment, Kaiser reflected. After gaining his daughters, he vowed to ensure their happiness, and they'd grown to thrive in the royal capital. He thought he'd fulfill his vow, but Regina's attacks forced him to question if he'd forgotten his original purpose. Her challenge reawakened his old self, stirring something he'd long set aside. Regina launched another attack, but Kaiser swiftly dodged, emerging through the smoke. She grinned, seeing her old comrade's spark return, proclaiming the rust on his blade gone and greeting the genius she remembered. The scene flashed back 19 years to when Kaiser became an A-rank adventurer, meeting Regina. They soon formed a party, and within a year, Regina reached B rank, earning the nickname Demon Princess for her fierce demeanor, though she disliked it, knowing Kaiser's serious side outshone her ferocity. Now facing that demon again, Kaiser moved with renewed speed and power, thrilling Regina to see the true genius she respected. They traded powerful blows, Regina marveling at Kaiser's endurance despite heavy liquid loss, calling him her most entertaining opponent. Their evenly matched swords promised an endless fight, so Regina proposed one final, all-out clash to determine the stronger. They readied their blades and collided, unleashing a ground-shaking blow. Elsa and the others were stunned by the mock battle's intensity. Regina retracted her claim of Kaiser's weakness, admitting he was stronger than ever, but her eyes grew heady, and she fainted. Kaiser noted she still gripped her sword, respecting her as an extraordinary swordswoman. As Regina lost consciousness, she dreamed of her B-rank promotion, proudly showing it to Kaiser, vowing to catch up. The dream shifted. She wanted to ask Kaiser out but saw him walk away, fading. Screaming for him, she awoke in bed, confused. Kaiser greeted her, explaining she was at his family's house and checking on her. Regina asked how he fared after her attacks. Kaiser showed his wounds, saying Meryl patched him up, though they still ached. Annoyed at his enduring strength, Regina explained why she attacked Elsa. As the youngest S-rank adventurer promoted faster than Kaiser, Regina tested her worth, but was disappointed by her easy defeat. Days after their earth-shaking duel, Kaiser relaxed at home with a book, Meryl doting on her mighty father, her obsession typical. Anna returned from work, welcomed by Kaiser. Surprisingly early, she admitted finishing work felt odd, allowing her to rest and spend time with her father, who had helped with guild missions to free her schedule. Leaning on his arm, Anna felt recharged, her affection for her father normal in this world. Meryl, unimpressed, teased Anna as a corporate slave, booing her. By day's end, Meryl didn't mind Anna's early return, but was annoyed that it disrupted her alone time with Kaiser. She didn't hate Anna, just her interference, though Anna insisted on sharing their father, leading to an intense staring contest between the sisters. Elsa, the eldest, arrived home looking drained, unlike her lively sisters. Kaiser began preparing dinner, but Elsa stopped him, saying she trained more and missed the meal, asking them to eat without her. Kaiser, confused and concerned, sensed something was wrong but didn't press. Anna intervened, wanting to discuss Regina, having researched her history and rank after witnessing her overpower Kaiser, nearly knocking him out with a fierce attack his body might not have withstood without conditioning. Kaiser, intrigued, asked what Anna found. She revealed Regina was exceptionally active, completing numerous solo missions, including impressive A-rank ones, showcasing her badass prowess. Anna wasn't finished, noting Regina's extraordinary strength from her battle with Kaiser and her career. However, Kaiser was troubled by Regina's solo missions, wondering if she lacked a party or was waiting for her old partner. Anna added a puzzling detail. Despite Regina's skill and landing hits on Kaiser, she remained an A-rank adventurer, not S-rank, despite years of experience. As guild manager, Anna knew promotions didn't hinge on friendliness, as many A to S-rank adventurers were egoistic, unlike the humble Kaiser. Regina's stagnant rank was a mystery. Rejecting promotions seemed unlikely. Kaiser, fascinated, promised to ask Regina about it. The next morning, Kaiser headed to the academy for work. In the hallway, Irene, who'd been waiting, surprised him with a greeting, teasing his rusty senses. Blushing intensely, she mustered the courage to ask Kaiser to dinner alone, a bold move driven by her crush. Kaiser, without hesitation, agreed almost immediately. Kaiser told Irene he'd been wanting to have dinner with her to learn from her experience as a senior professor, nothing more. He mentioned he'd join her after cooking dinner for his daughters, joking he wasn't like dads who vanished for years. That night, at the town's restaurant, Kaiser dressed casually, while Irene wore an extravagant outfit. As they ordered, Kaiser heard a voice asking for juice, not Irene's, but Meryl's. Surprised, he asked why she was there. Meryl explained she'd heard about his suspicious dinner with Irene and tagged along. Kaiser, confused, clarified it was just a professional talk, but Meryl's presence risked awkwardness. Her stubbornness unwavering, she offered to cover her ears to stay. Feeling guilty for not taking his daughters out lately, and not wanting Meryl to go home alone, Kaiser asked Irene if she minded Meryl staying. Irene, though disappointed, agreed to avoid seeming rude, hoping to impress Kaiser. When their food arrived, Irene regretted losing her chance to have Kaiser to herself, but saw it as an opportunity to win Meryl's trust for her approval. As if reading her mind, Meryl bluntly declared she wouldn't let Irene have her father, startling everyone with her apparent mind-reading knack. Later, Kaiser overheard patrons discussing a red-haired woman drinking the restaurant's liquor since morning, possibly causing the capital's booze shortage. Intrigued, he glanced over and spotted Regina, who instantly sensed him. With a menacing aura, she approached, grabbing his collar and demanding he admit he was Kaiser, recognizing his unique presence. Kaiser playfully denied it, but Regina, unfazed, teased him, saying no one could fool her after their years together. Their banter, like old friends, turned rough as she jokingly choked him, his fault for not being honest. Chugging ale, Regina ordered 5 more, a heavy drinker who'd been at it all day. Kaiser, concerned, warned she was overdoing it, but Regina claimed alcohol was her only joy besides her sword. He suggested she must have other hobbies, but she took offense, insisting she didn't sew or cook. To her, alcohol was life's nectar, and her sword thrilled her, as she told Kaiser years ago. Correcting herself, she now said she only felt alive on the brink of death. Regina explained that the thrill of being alive surged during her recent duel with Kaiser. Irene, curious, asked about their relationship. Kaiser clarified they were old acquaintances from before Meryl was born. Meryl's comment prompted Irene to assume Regina was Kaiser's ex-wife, but Regina's vehement denial, blushing furiously and nearly shouting she was still a virgin, dispelled that, confirming they were just friends. Irene, relieved, sensed Regina's unrequited feelings for Kaiser. To reset, Kaiser introduced Irene to Regina and vice versa. Regina, hearing Kaiser was a professor, expressed rare interest, though she claimed it was just for conversation. Meryl teased that Regina was prying into Kaiser's love life, making her flush again. Meryl stood firm, insisting on her point. Kaiser reminisced about Regina's kind, fun-natured despite her rough behavior, but Meryl brought up Regina's alleged academy attack, which soured her impression. Regina, confused, denied attacking any school, deepening the mystery. She added she only cared about Elsa, the sword master, not Kaiser's other daughters, alarming Kaiser. He recalled the campus intruder used illusion magic against Norvin, who didn't notice a large sword, unlike Regina's, and Regina couldn't use magic. This meant another intruder was lurking in the kingdom, possibly another old acquaintance. To protect Meryl, Kaiser decided to prioritize fatherhood, discussing the issue with the academy director. He explained Regina wasn't the academy attacker and requested a temporary leave from teaching to focus on Meryl's safety, as he couldn't guard her while managing classes. The director, understanding, approved, assigning Norvin to cover Kaiser's absence, noting a father's devotion. Meryl, thrilled at the chance to be closer to Kaiser, was quickly grounded by the director's stern reminder that her safety was the priority, not flirtation. Soon after, Anna called Kaiser to the guild, urgently needing help with a brewing issue. Kaiser and Meryl rushed over, finding Regina there. Kaiser questioned her presence, suspecting trouble. Regina retorted that, as an adventurer, she belonged at the guild. Anna explained her struggle to convince Regina for an A-rank mission, but Regina, as stubborn as Meryl, refused to take orders even from Anna, the guild master, defying authority outright. Anna, pressed for time, asked Regina what she'd do if not on missions. Regina replied she practiced swordplay, drink, or do little else. Anna, using manipulation, called Regina's life dull, comparing it to her sister's and implying sword enthusiasts prioritize blades overall. After persuasion, Regina agreed to the mission on the condition that Kaiser join her. Confused, Kaiser wondered about her request, while Anna, intrigued, noted Regina's solo mission habit. Meryl teased that Regina wanted to flirt with Kaiser, prompting Regina to accidentally agree before blushing furiously and clarifying that Kaiser made even boring battles thrilling. Kaiser, flattered by her acknowledgement, missed the romantic undertone, which Regina called him dense for. Anna approved the terms but warned Kaiser's busy schedule might limit his availability, which suited Regina. The moment was cut short when Monica burst in with urgent news. Anna, initially calm, turned serious after reading a letter from the Numeric territory, ordering Monica to gather all available adventurers, knights, and court magicians at the South Gate. At the gate, Anna revealed a report of a horde of A-rank Cyclops heading for the capital, an unprecedented threat. Visibly scared but resolute, she prioritized protecting the city. Elsa interjected, noting Cyclops typically lived solitarily in the Northern Republic's remote areas, making their sudden group attack bizarre. Anna, clueless about the cause, confirmed the report cited no prior signs. Regina observed that she and Kaiser were the only A-rank adventurers present, as others were on an expedition. Anna reassured her, citing Elsa's S-rank status, though Regina had nearly defeated her. Regina confidently told the others to stand back, claiming she and Kaiser could handle it, their veteran skills proven. Monica, unconvinced, argued 2 adventurers couldn't stop an estimated 500 Cyclops. Elsa agreed, saying the knights couldn't rely solely on them. Regina, her stubbornness triggered, nearly insulted the others as hindrances, but Kaiser quickly covered her mouth, silencing her, though she seemed to enjoy it. He reassured his daughters that he and Regina, having worked together in a party long ago, were well coordinated and capable. Elsa gave her approval, and soon the Cyclops horde appeared on the horizon. Regina took her stance first, while Kaiser calmed the panicking Monica. The knights doubted Kaiser and Regina could handle the massive horde alone, planning to form a defensive line to tackle them individually. But Regina's first strike obliterated multiple Cyclops with one swing, stunning the knights. Kaiser, determined not to falter with his daughters watching, surged forward using acceleration magic, summoning his katana to slice through 3 Cyclops effortlessly. Moore attacked from behind, but Regina covered him, teasing his slowness while proving their seamless partnership. Together, they carved through the horde, their movements and perfectly sensed. The knights, watching from the gate, were awestruck, no longer seeing Kaiser and Regina as mere humans. Back to back, Regina told Kaiser it had been ages since they fought together, her heart racing with joy, a sentiment Kaiser shared. Despite being vastly outnumbered, their spirits soared, and they exchanged smiles before diving back into the fray. Elsa, the S-rank adventurer, felt useless, choosing not to interfere with the veterans. She trusted Kaiser's kindness but saw a beastly, battle-crazed side of him, far surpassing Regina's ferocity. As the youngest S-rank commander and celebrated swordswoman, Elsa thought she knew the sword's path, but her father's peak adventurer prowess humbled her. Realizing she couldn't match him and envying Regina's reliable presence at his side, Elsa felt insecure, calling herself weak. Though that wasn't true. Later, Anna reported to officials that 564 A-rank Cyclops attacked the South Gate, but were entirely defeated by Kaiser and Regina, with other summoned combatants unable to act. Knights swarmed Kaiser with praise, while Regina received some from others. Kaiser's heartfelt words to Regina, "I feel more at ease with you by my side, let's keep working together," meant more to her than any thanks. Meanwhile, a woman with bunny headbands watched via a magic mirror, possibly Meryl's mother, though merely an assumption. Undeterred, she planned something new, deeming A-rank Cyclops too easy for Kaiser and Regina. As the day passed, the guild team, knights, and Meryl processed the Cyclops corpses for valuable materials. Meryl grumbled, wanting to burn them, but Anna insisted on harvesting their rare skin, useful and otherwise imported from the Northern Republic. While Anna pondered a potential Cyclops outbreak, the group noticed one Cyclops still breathing. The knights were frantic, searching for ways to overcome their challenge, but their kind-hearted commander stepped in and defeated the Cyclops with a single strike. It was an impressive feat, though she privately felt anxious and jealous, yearning to surpass Regina. A few days later, the Kaiser family planned a vacation as Meryl believed Kaiser was spending too much time with Regina. A family trip back home was the perfect chance to relax and bond, a well-earned break. Despite recent hardships, Kaiser didn't fully grasp Meryl's concerns, but her sisters were used to Meryl's odd behavior. Normal would be stranger. This was the family's first group outing, and Anna, Kaiser, and Meryl were excited. Though Meryl's quirks, like sleeping only 8 hours, were no surprise. While the family eagerly anticipated returning to their hometown, Elsa was an exception, remaining quiet and emotionally distant during the journey. The trip was sudden, sparked by Anna's idea the previous day at the guild. She proposed a C-rank mission in Yuzuha Village, their hometown, now a bustling tourist spot due to Meryl's hot springs. Anna saw it as a chance to combine work and vacation. Though unsure if she could leave her key role at the guild, Anna was confident, as the guild was nearly done handling the rumbling's aftermath, and her schedule was clear. She also had a magical communication device for remote work if needed. Anna was concerned about Elsa, who had been down since losing to Regina. A vacation could help Elsa revisit her roots and rediscover her purpose, much like Mavis. Kaiser agreed to Anna's plan, and after months in the capital, they returned home. Improved roads made the trip faster, and upon arrival, Giselle greeted them, sporting a new beard but his usual cheeky humor. Kaiser was happy to be back and asked Giselle about their house. Due to the sisters' fame, it had become a tourist attraction, preventing them from staying there. Giselle arranged another place in the village, so Kaiser had no worries. Still, visiting their home would have been nice. As they spoke, children rushed toward them, screaming and asking for autographs, treating the sisters like heroes or celebrities of the village. Elsa was caught off guard by the attention, while Anna just went along with it. Meryl, already comfortable in the spotlight, sat down and began signing autographs with ease. Giselle and Kaiser watched the girls being celebrated, filled with pride. This gave Kaiser a moment to focus on the mission, asking Giselle to look after his daughters while he stepped away. As he walked through the village, he overheard children speaking fondly of his girls, swelling his heart with pride. By nightfall, they returned to the inn, where Anna slumped on the couch, exhausted. Meryl teased her, suggesting she couldn't keep up with Meryl's plan to sign autographs for everyone in the capital, relishing the attention. Kaiser arrived after the mission, and Anna apologized for leaving it all to him, explaining she was stuck signing autographs for 2 hours. Kaiser brushed it off, saying the C-rank mission was easy. He asked for Elsa, and Anna said she was alone at the hot springs, unused to the autograph frenzy. Kaiser asked if Anna and Meryl would join, but Anna had a business call, and Meryl was caught up in her own world, so Kaiser went alone, seeing a chance to talk to Elsa. At the hot springs, Elsa was on the verge of a breakdown but was startled when Kaiser arrived to join her. She panicked at his casual approach, but Kaiser, unfazed, saw no issue since they were family. He tried to start a conversation, but it fizzled, leaving them in silence. Kaiser gently asked if something was troubling her, and Elsa admitted it was. To keep the talk going, he asked if it involved Regina, encouraging her by noting she was young and still growing, unlike the veteran Regina with over a decade of experience. Elsa appreciated his support but remained frustrated. Losing mock battles to Kaiser was one thing, but watching Regina fight alongside him as an equal during the Cyclops rumbling, while she stood by, felt unbearable. Determined to train harder, Elsa felt guilty for relaxing on vacation, believing she didn't deserve it. Kaiser noticed her struggle and asked if she'd long aimed to match his skill, knowing he was her ideal swordsman since childhood. Yet the more she fought, the further she felt from that goal. Kaiser urged her to aim higher, saying he shouldn't be her ultimate target. Though young with time to grow, Elsa doubted her progress as a swordmaster, her confidence shaken since witnessing Kaiser's true strength. During a major battle, Elsa felt she had failed both as a swordmaster and as Kaiser's daughter, a confession that deeply pained him. Unwilling to give up on her, Kaiser hugged her tightly, promising that as the world's strongest man, he would ensure she became the strongest swordswoman, unmatched by anyone. Gradually, Elsa began to trust his words, and with his continued encouragement, she believed she could surpass him. Her confidence restored, she leaned into her father's embrace, only for Meryl to interrupt, teasing her for flirting with their dad, shifting the mood from heartfelt to chaotic. Elsa, back to her usual self, bickered with Meryl until Meryl pointed out something that struck a nerve, prompting Elsa to flee the hot springs in embarrassment. With Elsa gone, Meryl settled into her usual spot, pleased to have Kaiser's attention, while Anna joined them, noting Elsa seemed better. Kaiser smiled, saying all warriors face doubts, big and small, and this time, Elsa's issue seemed resolved, her smile and blush a sign of progress. Days after the vacation, life returned to normal. Kaiser visited Monica to report on his recent mission, having defeated 24 C-ranked dark wolves and 2 B-ranked trolls with ease, a task Monica praised as child's play for him. She wondered why Elsa hadn't gone all out, puzzled by her restraint. Regina recalled their last battle, sensing something off about Elsa, as if she were a different person, which unnerved her. Elsa, unaware of what Regina meant, insisted she couldn't hold back to beat her. Regina saw Elsa's desperation to prove herself, frustrated by her loss, but advised her to face reality. Regina understood Elsa's drive to stand beside Kaiser, but clarified that Kaiser was in a league of his own, a rare genius. She explained that hard work couldn't close the gap with someone like him. While Regina gained 1 point for every 10 training sessions, Kaiser gained 10. Elsa's belief in matching him was fundamentally flawed, as no ordinary person could. Despite this, Elsa held firm, determined to reach Kaiser's level. In that moment, she transformed, exuding a menacing aura that startled Regina. An explosion followed, unleashing overwhelming power. Had Regina not drawn her ebony sword in time, she would have been defeated. In the battle's aftermath, Regina was left questioning who Elsa truly was. That immense power Elsa displayed was far from ordinary. As night fell at the Kaiser residence, the family grew anxious because Elsa hadn't returned. Meryl, hungry and impatient, complained just as dinner preparations began. Then Regina arrived, carrying Elsa in her arms, clearly exhausted from the effort. Kaiser, concerned, asked what happened, and Regina simply gestured to their shared wounds, indicating they had a rematch. Kaiser instructed the girls to tend to Elsa's injuries while he spoke with Regina, who made herself comfortable, slumping onto the couch. It was evident Elsa had challenged her fiercely. Regina seized the moment to ask Kaiser who Elsa truly was, having never seen that side or power before. She knew such strength couldn't be learned, it was innate. Surprisingly, Kaiser admitted he didn't fully understand it either. He'd seen glimpses of this power since Elsa defeated her first monster, a force beyond his comprehension. He'd been quietly striving to keep up with her ever since. Regina, frustrated, had to end their fight early because of Elsa's overwhelming power. Kaiser could only explain that Elsa possessed a rare, natural talent, marking her as a once-in-a-generation genius. What an extraordinary family, with the potential for the strongest swordswoman, the sharpest guild master, and the finest mage, embodying true girl power. Kaiser explained that there are monster ranks and stated that there are fire ranks S, A, B, C, and D, and all of them are clearly defined. They are letters rating that denotes the strength of a monster. They are used as guidelines to ensure that adventurers can perform their missions safely. He stated that D rank are the monsters that can harm small groups of people, and they destroy crops and hinder people's livelihood to a certain degree, and it is also given to aggressive bees such as bears and boars. The C rank monsters are that they endanger the life of many people, and they can significantly harm or even destroy villages and other small residential areas. It is also given to the monster who is gone, but such as dark boards and wolves. The B rank monsters are those that can significantly harm or even destroy towns and other medium-sized residential areas, and are given to the remnants of the Demon King's army that have gone berserk, such as ogres and golems. The A rank monsters are those that can significantly harm or even destroy cities and other large-sized residential areas. It is given to creatures such as violence and cyclopes that are exceptionally powerful even among the demon army's remnants. The S rank are those monsters that can destroy multiple cities or even entire nations, and they are highly intelligent and do not act rashly. If she was to find one, she should not engage and just flee as fast as possible, and at present only 5 S-rank monsters have been confirmed and none of them have been slain and their whereabouts unknown, and that is what the documents say. He mentioned that the ranks of missions change in accordance with the type and number of monsters involved, so both the guild and adventurers choose them carefully. She asked Kaiser if he had ever fought an S-rank monster before. He went silent and responded that he saw one but he didn't fight it. She excitedly asked what it was like. He responded that it was a huge dragon known as the Ancient Dragon, and it flew off somewhere before he could attack it. She mentioned it was a shame as she would love to see him beat up a dragon. Kaiser told her that he was not sure if he could and explained that according to legends, that's a monster that even heroes have a hard time defeating, and he would also probably not get away from the battle scot-free, but he cannot say for sure until he fights it. Tears filled her eyes and she replied that if an S-rank monster were to attack the capital, then it would not be just her mother but him, Elsa, Luna, and everyone would die. She further stated that she already lost her father and she did not want to lose someone important to her again. He patted her and told her not to worry. Kaiser smiled and replied that nothing will happen even if an S-rank monster comes, and he will definitely defeat it and protect her and everyone else. He has been training as hard as humanly possible all these years so she can relax. She hugged him and responded that he is right and they will be fine around him. Luna was furious and requested if he could stop trying to seduce the princess. Kaiser responded that he was not trying to seduce her. Luna replied that it was pretty clear what he was trying to do and he should be a little more aware of his behavior as a man. Kaiser hesitated and said that she is as strict with him as ever. Luna replied that she must be as she is none other than the princess of this country, and she has to prevent all the worst-case scenarios. She explained to the princess that men are far more ferocious creatures than S-rank monsters, and if she lower her guard, they will swallow her up whole. Kaiser asked her what she was telling a 10-year-old, and she responded that the princess is not like any other 10-year-old. She stated that there are victims who try to seize power by having their sons marry princesses or take advantage of their tender age to run the country from behind the scenes, and she is being targeted by enemies all the time. Moreover, she is the cutest girl in the world. She asked Kaiser if he understood one and if he did. Then she requested him to be mindful of his interactions with the princess. He responded that he will keep that to his heart and do his best to protect Prim and her too. Luna called him an airhead playboy and stated that he had a visitor and requested him to come. He was confused about a visitor and he saw it was Regina. Regina stated that they should go on a mission. He asked Regina why she was in the castle, and she replied that he promised they would be going on a mission and they should go. He stated that he is still not done with his tutorial. They were in the guild, and she told Elsa about the Cyclops incident. She mentioned that her prediction was right. The knights searched the perimeter and a teleportation magic circle was found in the forest. She explained that Cyclops lives in the northern border, and it is far too unnatural for them to show up in groups here of all places. She realized that it must have been the work of someone, and the other girl agreed too. Elsa mentioned that they found mana residue on the magic circle and a magical mark on the Cyclops' forehead, and there is no doubt a magician was behind it all. She asked what happened to the teleportation circle and if other monsters are teleported there. Elsa responded that they don't have to worry about that. The girl mentioned that she had Meryl dispel the teleportation circle, but it was really hard and the magic formula was surprisingly complex. She had never even heard of someone teleporting that many monsters at once, so whoever it was must be super skillful. She realized that if even the sage is singing her praises, then their preparator must be indeed pretty good. The sage laughed and mentioned that she is still way better than them. Elsa asked if the one responsible for the magic circle was the school intruder as well. She replied that they can't tell for sure, but given that in both incidents a magician seems to have been involved, so it is very likely. Elsa realized that they are at the risk of being attacked once more. The sage asked if they should not tell their dad about this and why are they even discussing it when he is not here. She replied that not is an important period for their dad, and his lifelong goal of being an S-rank adventurer is finally within reach, and she doesn't want anything to disturb him. The sage sighed and replied that she personally doesn't mind relying on him. She replied that it would have been fine when they were kids, but they are already 18 and they are adults, so it is time for them to be more independent, and Elsa felt the same. Alpha mentioned that they have been relying on him throughout their whole life, so she would like to actually settle this matter on their own. The sage stated that she doesn't get what she is talking about, and no matter how old they get, they will always be their dad's little girl, so she doesn't think there is anything wrong with relying on him or being spoiled by him. They were speechless, and then she replied that even so, she wanted her dad to focus on his own thing for now, seeing how much time he spent raising them, and Elsa agreed with her. The sage responded that they both need a crash course on accepting people's kindness. Kaiser and Regina were in the forest, and she mentioned it was a wrap. Kaiser mentioned that he got the ogre's horns and they should go back before it gets dark. Regina asked him what he was talking about, and they still have not completed the errand mission to hurt a minotaur, and it is supposed to be up in the hills ahead. He was confused and asked if she picked another one, and she agreed. Regina stated that she heard from the girl that he might be promoted to S rank fairly soon, and he agreed, so she told him that he must make haste. Regina explained that to be promoted to S rank, he has to attend the guild's anniversary ceremony held once a year, since the promotion ceremony will be held alongside that one and the deadline is coming up soon. So if he missed it, he will have to wait another year, which would just be a pain, and that is why it will be better for him to take a bunch of missions and get promoted as soon as possible. He realized she has a point and noticed that she knew a lot about this. Regina replied that they have been sending her notification about it over the past 10 years. He asked if she has already met the requirements to move up to S rank, and asked how come she is still an A rank adventurer. She was flustered and responded that she just had prior plans for the day of the ceremony and couldn't go. He asked if she had plans every year, and she told him to shut up and wanted him to stop asking questions. She further told him that the point is if he can't attend the ceremony, then he won't be promoted and get stuck, so he should better be careful. He smiled and replied that she was right. It was the castle and the girl was walking in and mentioned there were 10 days left. She mentioned that the results have been perfect and the things are going exactly as planned, and since it is Kaiser they are talking about, she doubts there will be any issues and she just has to continue with the preparations. There was a dangerous monster in the basement, and she wondered how he would fare in the face of disaster, and called him the young hero while looking at the monster.